Hello, everybody. Welcome to Phonogenics 101. This is episode number 80, and we are now streaming on every single platform. Thanks to my Patreon subscribers, because I actually need your money now that I had to host this podcast, so it costs me even more money every month. But we're getting more views, we're getting more listens, and we just hit 500 subscribers on YouTube, which is cool, because I'll admit I don't really promote. I'm not a great promoter for this. I just post them, so this is organically growing, and I freaking love that. So, on the Joni Mitchell, we finished the Joni Mitchell series last week, and I said that I came up with this idea for an online podcast in 2020. That was a lie. I just went back and found the documents. It was January 2021. I sat in a coffee shop, and I just said, I'm going to do this. I'm doing Prince, Joni Mitchell, Madonna, and Stevie Nicks. Jeffrey was with me for a lot of the Madonna podcasts, but we finished the Madonna series. We finished Stevie Nicks. We finished Joni Mitchell last week, which was like 26 episodes. And then today we're finishing the Prince series, which was a freaking hot mess of a series because people came and went. It was hard to keep a consistent base. Well, it's all good. But it was a journey. It was a journey for you. And I stopped at the Gold Experience because that's when I stopped listening to Prince. So I know people are going to slaughter me for it. Some people were some people were a little salty with me because they're like, you need to do all his albums. But truthfully, there's so many artists I love and only so much time in life. So there's other people I want to explore. So, maybe one day there is one album I want to go back and do next year, which we talked about. So we're going to have a special episode next year. But today we are doing 1995 and beyond. So let me introduce my partner in crime today. He was with us on the For You episode. Don't you miss the early days with like Joshua Bean and those early episodes were fun.
Mm-hmm.
We had a lot of fun people along the way. But Jeffrey, talk a little bit about yourself. You were part of the Ultimate Prince compilation. You're a huge Prince fan, and you are going to guide us from 1995 to the present. And Clark Brooks is going to join us later. So
yes, because I have a bad memory, I'm going to be consulting this book, Prince All the Songs.
Yes,
and it's pretty
cool.
I have my
copy
for someone that I think diehards will complain because it's not a ton of new information, but it's like for someone that's discovering Prince, this has like all the stories and all the stuff, so it's pretty cool.
And I haven't done super deep dives, so this is all kind of new to me. I love this book.
And lots of beautiful pictures. I mean, it's surprising. I don't know about how licensing works, but for pictures, but it's great. I mean, lots of wonderful shots, and some are full page and lots in color, and the reproductions are nice. It's very impressive. And I'm not just saying that because I'm in it, quoted from Ultimate Prince. But that's a nice added bonus.
And I'd say it's pretty comprehensive. It goes beyond just like
it even has like the most up-to-date vault releases too. So I mean, it's obviously it'll be out of date in a year when they finally start releasing music again. But
are they going to again? What's next? Does anybody know? Or can we say on the podcast?
I have heard some stuff and I can't say. So.
Okay. Well, after we pause, hold on, I'm going to pause. So we are going to pick up from 1995 and move forward. Jeffrey's going to lead the way. We're going to use the book as kind of the Bible. And
but I did do my homework, and I made a list on my American Express bill envelope of all the albums from memory, which I did pretty well. I think I missed a few, but.
And Melissa Riley also sent a list, so I feel like she's going to be stopping in at some point. So people may join us. Should we just start the journey? Where do we start?
Let's do it. We're doing The Exodus Has Begun, which is technically a new Power Generation record. But Prince sings the lead vocal on it so many times that it's almost like it's like the Parliament Funkadelic album that Prince made. I mean, it's like lots. I'm
going to show my collection. I got the Good Life single. I have a few different CD singles of that song. Then I have the Get Wild single from there. There were a few versions of that, so that's my little collection. Go ahead.
The Good Life, which we can talk about. I mean, the album version is sung by Sonny T, the bass player in the New Power Generation, and then the remix on the Good Life single is like Prince rapping, and it's like totally like got a lot of profanity and dissing a lot of people, and it's just like wow, it's pretty great, but it's like also kind of scandalous.
Let's organize these by how like essential, a hit, mediocre, or a miss. Does that sound like a good rating system for all
do
these
we want to
albums?
do song by song or just mention? Because
Just
they
mention.
have like track listings.
Yeah, we'll just
So
go album by album. Say some of your notable songs because we're gonna zip through like 30 albums. So
sure,
some
this album has lots of segues. There's a segue called the Mashed Potato Girl where Prince plays a waiter and he just says the F word like 100 times about like basically like the waiter's recalling the story about how somebody threw mashed potatoes and they had like a food fight in the restaurant. And it's like freaking hilarious. Okay, so anyway, and then they have a song called Big Fun, which is amazing. It's kind of Prince and Sonny T singing lead vocals. He reused the music on a song called, it's the same music, a track called Poom Poom, which is on Crystal Ball.
Okay.
So it's interesting to see that Prince sometimes recycled ideas because it's like the exact same music with completely different lyrics to that song. And then the final the final song on that record is the title track, which is The Exodus Has Begun.
Okay.
And that's like a 10-minute Parliament Funkadelic by Prince track. It's like weird and got like lots of like kind of like the Bob George voice, but like It's not in a Bob George sort of way. It's like in a funky George Clinton sort of way. So it's not the greatest record. I mean, I can see why it wouldn't be a hit, but it's totally listenable. I like it a lot. It's not streaming, unfortunately, but hopefully one day it will be because it's pretty good. I mean,
So let's do the Marcus scale. Marcus that joined the Prince ones. All these will do thumbs up, sideways, or down. What do you give Exodus?
I give it a thumbs up. I like it.
Thumbs up. And just for the people that are listening or watching, if you're on YouTube, you're watching it. I have 2 stacks of CDs this big of everything Prince released after Gold Experience because I'm a collector. I collect things, and honestly, I have not listened to most of these. So, Jeffrey, this is going to be a great starting point for anyone that wants to explore the later stuff. Yeah. You're saying some tracks for people to catch up.
I'm pretty knowledgeable too. I mean, obviously my opinion is not necessarily the mainstream opinion, but I listened to all these freaking albums repeatedly when they came out. So
now I don't know if they mentioned this in the book. What about this? The 1-800 New Funk. Is that something for people to get, or what do you think of that one?
It actually has some really good songs on it. I mean, one of my favorite songs is "Standing at the Altar" by Margie Cox, who was also known as Tamara in the Scene.
Okay,
in the early '80s.
Jesse Johnson did an album with her, right?
Yes,
I have that because I think someone reissued it.
Yeah, it's great. The song is called "Standing at the Altar," and it's like a church song. I mean, it's so freaking good. I love that track. And then 17 by Madhouse is a funky Madhouse track.
Okay.
Which is all instrumental.
Is there any Prince on here? I see some NPG.
He does Love Sign. He wrote all the songs, obviously.
Oh, I see it.
He kind of sings lead vocals on MPLS. That's kind of like a Parliament Funkadelic type track too. It's like weird and I think of what else is on that. Woman's Gotta Have It by Nona Gay. That's an okay song. There's a song with the Steels.
So would you give it like a sideways?
Sideways tilting up. It's all the tracks are pretty solid, but some of them are kind of boring, I guess.
Cool. All right, what's next on our
you did Gold Experience, you said, right?
We did Gold Experience, yes.
And for me, that is like 2 thumbs, way up.
Yeah, we all loved it. We all loved Gold Experience.
He overproduced it and killed a lot of the original spirit. It's still, those songs are insane.
At the time, I didn't love that album. When I revisited, I was honestly blown away. That was one of the few times I was like, I was wrong. That's a fucking masterpiece. It's a great album.
Yeah, he was really on fire. I mean, he wrote all those tracks at the same time as Come, which is just like,
yeah.
There's times where Prince to me is just so mind blowing because he's so brilliant. I mean,
yeah.
So they claim that the next book is Chaos and Disorder.
Okay. So let me find my little CD.
It's from 1996, right? 1990. Where is it? I think it's 1990. Yeah, 1996.
Yes.
And basically, he had to he just gave them like vault tracks and was like, fuck off. And you can tell that like he was not the most inspired to make a really genius album. It's the songs, some of them are solid, but
it was a rock album, right? It was more of a rock.
It's a rock album. Chaos and Disorder, hard rock. I love that song. I like it there. Great song.
Dinner with Dolores was the single, wasn't it?
Single, not great. I mean, it's kind of boring. The Same December, great song. It's like kind of starts off one way and then ends a different way. Right the Wrong. It's kind of like a country-ish song. That's not great. Xanali is a blues track, not great, but all listenable. I Rock That For I Am is kind of a reggae. Into the Light and I Will are ballads. Dig
Now,
You Better Dead.
I remember when these started coming out, I felt like he was kind of cheapening his brand by just putting all this shit out. Because even on the album cover, it's like originally intended for private use. So up to this point, when he started releasing like The Come, which I like that album, but The Chaos and Disorder, before those albums, everything Prince released was a gem. Like it was an iconic release up through the Symbol album. And this is where things started getting sloppy to me a little bit.
I mean, again, it was supposed to be like a vault record and not necessarily released, but like,
and the whole story with the Warner's contract and all that crap.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think with some promotion there would have been some more hits or some hits, but like they didn't really promote it at all. And then this is a period where I feel whoever picked the singles for the records picked the worst ones, and you're like, what are they doing? Like The Same December or I Like It There would have been great, because like I Like It There is like a totally rocking song, and people would have been like, that's Prince, what?
Okay.
And then instead they released this like really like boring ballad that has like nothing to it. And you're just like,
and this is when his artwork, like all his artwork from this point forward, kind of had that vibe. Like he'd have the symbol on there and kind of like clip art, not clip art, but
well, it was like the 90s technology, you know, that was what was happening at the time.
Yeah.
I mean,
don't you feel like he stayed with us all the way through like Artificial Age, like and Hit and Run? Like that was just kind of like, I don't know. I feel like that was his aesthetic.
So I would give that album a thumbs up. I mean, the songs are strong. Oh, I don't know if we finished Dig You Better Dead, which is the funkiest track on the record, and then that's like kind of like the typical Prince song.
Okay.
And then Had You was like, see, it was like this was supposed to be the last record of his contract, so it was like the first song is For You, and the last song is Had You.
Oh.
And the lyrics of the song are just like something you, something you, something you, and then the last line is fuck you.
Oh, so that was Prince's a relationship that began in so
Prince was definitely like over Warner Brothers completely at this point. Which I mean, you know, who knows who was right and who was wrong in that?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously corporations fuck over artists. There's no mistake there. But you know, Prince also signed a major record deal, and nobody held a gun to his head. So
right,
you know, but yeah, I mean, you know, I tend to side with Prince because corporations are evil. So
I think like everything, the answer is somewhere in the middle. So it's probably in the middle, closer to Prince's side, though.
Prince definitely didn't do things to help his cause. Like I'm not going to promote it ever again. You know, things like that.
Even changing his name to the Symbol was such a dick move in some ways, or ingenious. It's either genius or dick. Like depends on what side you're coming from.
Okay, now that he's gone, I do think that a lot more things are genius, and at the time, I think they were dick moves, because I do think that artistic freedom is really important, and I do think that, you know, other people, like that's how you grow as an artist, you know.
Yeah.
But the world wants greatest hits. It's the way it is for everything. So, you know, and when you have somebody that creative as Prince is, it sucks to be revisiting your past when you want to move on to the future. You know, some people like, and then no disrespect, you know, because obviously he's a genius, but Billy Joel, it's like he doesn't want to move on. He wants to revisit the past constantly, and people are willing to take that journey. But Prince wanted to like constantly evolve and grow, and the record label probably wanted Purple Rain from now until infinity.
You know, love her or hate her, I feel like Madonna's the same. I mean, she's getting a little bit more nostalgic now, but she always would keep pushing forward, which I like.
Yeah. Okay, so next up is Emancipation.
So before that, let's just touch on Gold N. What's that? So is that just NPG?
That actually came out before Exodus, so we should have actually done that first, maybe.
Okay.
That's not a good way to start, because that record,
it's rap, right?
It's rap. I mean, it's like, it's sort of like a Parliament Funkadelic record with rap. I mean, it's like, but it's like the songs are a lot slower, and you know, there's a song Black MF in the House, which is like, you know, it's like kind of a skit between Tony M and Prince, like you can't get into a club, and you know, because you're black. And I mean, obviously that's a you know, that's a thing, but it's like not something you want to listen to over and over again, in my opinion.
All right, so that one gets a thumbs down.
I give that one a thumbs down.
And one last thing before Emancipation, let's touch on the Girl 6 soundtrack.
That has the
First
only
time Vanity, right? Vanity 6.
which is not even available on Spotify, which is crazy to think that a song that was that much of an underground hit. Because it wasn't like, I don't think it was a chart topping hit, but it was definitely like everyone knew that song.
And every time I DJ, I want to play it because I'm a shitty ass DJ that uses Spotify, and it's not on there. Was this the first time Erotic City was on CD? Because back then it was a B-side that was only on vinyl.
On a import CD single for "I Would Die for You."
Oh, okay, one of those German ones.
Yeah, one of those German ones. So
yeah.
I mean, people that really wanted that track had it. But it was the first time "Screams of Passion" outside of the family, which wasn't out of print. So that was the which criminally not on Spotify because that song is so freaking great.
And isn't there a couple Prince songs exclusive to the Girl 6?
Yes, Girl 6 and She Spoke to Me.
Okay, and those are good.
She Spoke to Me is really grooving, and then he released a Vault album a couple years later, which has a 4 minutes of extended random free form jazz at the end of that track. And you're like, it doesn't go. It goes, but it's like
it's kind of like part 2 of Alphabet Street.
In a way, but it was so unexpected because when that album came out, I was like, oh, that's a waste because we already had that song, and then it was like, oh, it's a totally different ending.
So he kept the full song intact, just had a longer version of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with that part of the song.
Because I remember when Alphabet Street came out as a single, my local radio station played part 2, where the cat rap came in, and I thought that was the song. I'm like, what a weird single, because it starts with cat and then it's instrumental, but they're playing the B-side. It's so weird. When I didn't hear the actual proper song until Love Sexy came out. So Girl 6, would you say it's like a middle, not an essential?
No, it's definitely essential because it has Nasty Girl and Scream of Passion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So now we're moving on to Prince's first album that he did after he was freed from his contract, which was a 3-disc set, which was so ballsy. Each disc had how many songs? 10. This was a lot of music. This was a lot of music. It has that weird graphic designy thing that he did. This album was so dense. I've tried to listen to it a few times. It was just always too dense. And weren't there some versions that came with a 4th disc of an acoustic music, The Truth? Or was that the Crystal Ball?
No, that's Crystal Ball.
Okay, so I'm skipping ahead. So, as someone that never dove into this album, what's a good entry point into Emancipation? There's some people, even that listen to this podcast, that we're hoping we do a whole episode on it, and I just don't know enough about it.
But before we do that, a lot of times in your podcast, you do what was the first thing that when you heard this record or whatever. I have and it's always confessional, so I have to do a confession about this record.
Yeah, please do.
It'll unburden my soul. I had plans with a really good friend of mine on her birthday to hang out with her, and then Prince announced that this album was coming out, and I was like, there's 3 hours of Prince music coming out, and I have to go to a birthday dinner that's boring. So I asked my friend if we could reschedule it, and she never talked to me again.
Oh, you never talked to her ever again?
She never talked to me again because I ditched her for the Prince album.
Did she add you? Have you ever found her on social media or anything? Or
no, I through a friend of a friend, I've heard she's okay, but
she literally never talked to you again. So was Emancipation worth losing a friendship? I guess that's the real question.
I mean, I was young at the time, so I would never do that now. But right. Young, and Prince really meant a lot more to me then than he does now because we have other priorities in life. But Emancipation, it's 3 discs. Each disc is exactly 60 minutes. He'd just gotten married to Maite, and getting ready to have a baby, which unfortunately passed away.
Yeah, what a shame.
And and it's the first CD of his being free. And so it's interesting that, it does say, it does have, quite a lot of good tracks, but it does also have some fillers. So we can just start with disc 1.
So did each disc have a theme? Was each disc different? Or?
It does not have a theme. The songs are kind of all over the place.
So the whole thing is just, it's like Tusk. Just album 1, album 2, no theme, no cohesion. Okay. I got
no cohesion. And to me, my favorite song on the record is probably most everybody's least favorite song on the record. And it's a song called The Human Body. And it's
You sent that to us. It's dancey.
It's a 6-minute dancey electronic explosion that with like really weird, really brief and weird lyrics. And in the background, there's like a sniffing sound that just like, it's going, and then they have like kind of like human body sounds. And then like the end of the song, it has this like ferocious dance breakdown. And I'm like, it's so unlike anything he's ever done. So
I loved it when you sent it to me. I did love it.
So it's got stuff from that to ballads and covers, which is the first time he's ever done a cover officially.
He did Bonnie Raitt, right? I Can't Make You Love Me. Is that on this one?
I Can't Make You Love Me. The Stylistics, La 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 Means I Love You, and One of Us by Joan Osborne.
Which is such a weird.
Each disc has a cover.
I remember, is Rosie Gaines on Jam of the Year, or am I imagining things?
She is. Yeah.
Okay, so Rosie Gaines is back. That was the opening track of the first season.
Jam of the Year is a good song. It starts off with, trying to get you in the groove. And then Right Back Here in My Arms is a love song, which is pretty good. He's used that music on something else also.
Was Holy River on this album? That was a single, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
Favorites, to be honest with you.
There's a song called Slave. Does that talk about his thing with the record label at all? Or
it does. Oh, and I can't wait to talk about I'll get there in a second.
Okay.
New World. I have something to say about that.
So we're doing album by album. So I'm just going to let you talk album by album. And I'm going to shut the fuck up.
Oh, I'm sorry if I'm talking too much. I'm just passionate. I know all these things. I've lost a friendship over this record, for crying out loud. Somebody, great ballad. Get Your Groove On, funky track. Court and Time is like a throwback to the swing era, which is interesting that he tried something like that. Betcha by Golly Wow is a cover. It's a ballad. We Gets Up is like the first track where I don't think where now I'm like, okay, that's filler. It's like a party track. Prince started doing like party tracks, like around around Diamonds and Pearls, like Jughead and
Oh yeah,
We Gets Up, and I wasn't a big fan of that kind of stuff. White Mansion is a slower song. I like it. A lot of people don't. Damned If I Do, not one of my favorites. I Can't Make You Love Me. Oh, that's another one. Bonnie Raitt cover. Mr. Happy's funky. In This Bed I Scream is his sort of song apology to Wendy and Lisa in a song.
Oh, okay.
That's written about them. And that's the end of disc 1. Disc 2, Sex in the Summer, which is kind of a slow jam, but it's good. One Kiss at a Time is a ballad. Soul Sanctuary is not one of my favorites. It's a slower song. Email, funky, and might possibly be the very first song to ever have a URL and as the chorus, which is www.email.com.
That years before I'm Gonna Email Santa came out.
Pet Shop Boys ended up having a song called Email, but the next two songs run together, Curious Child and Dreaming About You. They're both slow, not my favorites. By the way, there's like half of this book of music to discuss. Joint to Joint is like a 7-minute song that changes in the center, and the segue is a Savion Glover tap dance, which if you ever get a chance to see him in concert, tap dancing, one of the best performances you'll ever see in your life.
Okay.
Holy River, which was a single. Again, I think it's kind of boring. It's kind of an attempt at being a Purple Rain type track with like a guitar solo at the end.
Right. Being in Love.
Yeah. Let's Have a Baby is one of my least favorite songs. I think it's so boring. It's really slow and sappy. Savior is a slow song, which is not one of my favorites. The Plan, which is it's a segue. It's the very intro to Kama Sutra, which is on Crystal Ball. It's a instrumental ballet that he wrote for his wife, Maite. And then the last song on that disc is one of my favorites ever, which is Friend, Lover, Sister, Mother, Wife. And it's a 7-minute slow jam that has such beautiful lyrics. And if someone sang that to you, you would go anywhere in the world with them, you know? Okay, so disc 3. Disc 3 is probably my favorite disc.
Okay.
Because I love the first 3 songs are so great. Slave is like talking about his just basically just saying like everyone wants to hurt him,
right.
Which makes so this is the track I'm excited to discuss, which is New World, because it's an upbeat kind of a computer age song envisioning what the future is going to be like. And this is long before vaccines and things were talked about on a global scale.
Right.
So this song is from 1996, which means it was probably written in 95 or even sooner. And there's a lyric in there. You want to find some isolation, but the tracker you got from vaccination keeps playing Never Walk Alone. They're always listening, especially on the phone. So it's interesting because the anti-vaxxers have always said that the reason they don't like to take vaccines is because there's like, they put shit in it like tracking devices.
Oh, right. They feel like they're being tracked.
So it's interesting that in 1996, when no one was talking about these kinds of things, Prince was talking about it. So I'm like, I wonder if he was an anti-vaxxer.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? Because he became a Jehovah's Witness that didn't believe in blood transfusion. So it's just very curious to me to think about that. And then also for a while, the like anti-vaxxers theme song was "You'll Never Walk Alone."
Oh, okay.
Which he quotes or he references in that song. So I'm like, interesting. Anyway, that's my conspiracy theory. Okay, so the human body, which again we talked about earlier, is like my favorite.
Right.
Just a crazy dance track. After that is Face Down, which is like Prince rapping, but it's pretty good. It's you know, the video is pretty funny, and you know it's kind of a diss to Elvis, obviously, but it's like the core, like basically it's like Face Down like Elvis.
Oh, okay. Oh shit.
I know it's kind of fucked up. Prince was like kind of like petty in this era, I think, a little, because Chaos and Disorder was really petty. Anyway, oh, Melissa's here. La La Means I Love You is a ballad. We should pause, I guess.
I shall jump in.
Okay.
Let's finish up the tracks and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, Style is like kind of a boring rap song. Sleep Around dance track, great song. Da 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 rap song, not great. My Computer features Kate Bush, great song, but unfortunately muted her pretty much. Like you can barely hear her unless you listen to it in headphones. One of Us is the Joan Osborne cover, which is not great. The Love We Make is one of the best ballads he ever did. And then Emancipation is kind of a middle of the road mid-tempo track. Not great, but not horrible. I mean, considering that was like He's Back and Free track, it's like not the Purple Rain we all expected, you know?
Right.
But the thumbs up, hey Melissa, the thumbs up or thumbs down to me is definitely two thumbs up.
Two thumbs up.
Or we only do one, right?
Yeah, so Melissa, welcome. We're kind of just spending like 5 minutes on. We're not even going track by track for Emancipation. We did since it was kind of a big album. But
did we start with Emancipation?
No, we started with Exodus.
Exodus. Okay.
Yeah, but then we did Chaos and Disorder, and now we're on Emancipation. So do you have a little bit you want to add about Emancipation before we move on? What did you think of this album?
I love this album. There's only a few songs that I didn't like back then when it came out, but I would just listen to it on the way, like yesterday. I'm sorry, I'm an hour behind here. I'm in Chicago, so that's why I was late. I was like, it's not 8:00 yet.
Well, I'm glad you joined because you've been here since the beginning, so it's good to finish off the Prince series together.
So I was just listening to it yesterday, and I was like, oh, I like that song. I like that song. I really like that song. The songs that were kind of like okay were like Savior and Holy River for me. Or what was the other one?
What do you think of
Baby? Huh?
Yeah, I didn't like any of those either. What did you think of The Human Body?
When I bought it, I was like, wow.
The song The Human Body.
I thought it was really clever with his whole with the slave on the face, and then the Emancipation album came out. I thought that was really clever. I was like, wow, this is it wasn't on album then. I had it on CD, but it's like 3 CDs and all these songs. I was like, this is amazing. I really liked like when it opens up with Jam of the Year and Somebody, I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. Some songs aren't the best, but
Jeffrey's
overall, I give it a 2 thumbs up.
Jeffrey's favorite song on the album is The Human Body, the dance song. What did you think of that one?
Really? Yeah, that's very techno.
It's because it's never done anything like that before, and it's just so weird.
But what was the one right before it? It sounded kind of techno leading up to it.
New World. That's more like electro.
Yeah.
But I mean, like he's done stuff like that before, whereas I feel like.
But New World is actually relevant now.
That's
When
what Jeffrey was
listening
saying.
to it during COVID, I was like, oh my gosh.
And see,
Yeah,
that's why I'm excited we're having this podcast, because this is a great entry point for the casual listener to get into these later albums. So I'm gonna actually go back and listen to this and take notes on everything you guys are saying.
I was shocked that he did a couple different covers on this too, like the "I Can't Make You Love Me" and what was the
One
other
of
one?
Us, Joan Osborne.
That's about Golly Wow.
Yeah, which was a single, right?
I think so.
Terrible choice for a single. Terrible.
I like it. I love that song.
That is the first single, like his Freedom album, and that's the song. Like that, I thought that
it didn't grab me. That's why I never. Hey, I just got a text from our friend Jahida, who sent a picture. Her man bought her this book.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, wow.
So Melissa, do you have this one? Jeffrey, it's about all the songs.
Oh, not yet. I wanted that one.
It's great. Yeah. So we're kind of using that as our guide. So overall, you guys both give Emancipation, I guess, if you had three. All right.
Yeah, three thumbs up. But I will say it does have some stinkers on it, but the songs that are good are great.
So
yeah, and the Sex in the Summer, that's the one where he used the child's heartbeat. That was kind of different.
How would you approach this album from like someone on the outside? Would you do it one disc at a time, or would you make a mix of all the good songs? Like, how should one?
I mean, truly, if you listen to like the first 30 or 40 seconds of each track, if it doesn't grab you then it's not going to.
Okay.
Because there's not tons of songs that change. Like a Joint to Joint is one song that's actually like misleading because that one changes completely by the end of it.
Oh, it does.
It gets really weird. So it's really weird, and I don't know if that song's for everybody, but that's one of the only tracks that if you listen to the first 30 seconds and it's misleading. It's
not like Computer Blue where the beginning is totally different than the end of the song.
Yeah, no, it is. No, the beginning is totally different than the ending on Joint to Joint. But yeah, it's definitely, it's definitely worth listening to for sure. There's definitely like lots of really strong tracks, but it also has a lot of filler. I wouldn't say that's the first album new Prince fan should go to. They should definitely start sticking with the 80s stuff. And then,
I mean, I guess if you pick off some of the popular ones, like Right Back Here in My Arms and Somebody, that would probably catch them. They probably like those.
Do you feel like he would have been better off doing a 2-disc set or a 1-disc? Or do you think it's good he spread his wings like that for his re-entry into the world?
Well, considering it was going to probably flop anyway, I'm glad at least we got 3 CDs out of it.
Yeah.
Because all this shit could be sitting in the vault. Because there's a lot of bootlegs from this era, and there's I think like probably 10 or 15 songs that we have, so that makes another disc. And then I've seen other track listings before, which I'm assuming are real, that have songs I've never heard of before. So I'm assuming that he was really creative in this period, and there's tons of shit sitting out there. So
will we get an Emancipation Deluxe Edition? Probably not, right?
I would think so. I mean, it's an important album for his legacy because this was his first album in complete freedom,
right?
And that's what he's fought for. So I mean, for historical purposes, they should almost do one, but I mean, who knows? I don't know what their plans are, but I'll tell you when we get to it in this podcast, I'll tell you when I stopped really caring as much.
Okay.
Oh no.
But I was highly invested still by this point because he was still there. This was the era where there were still starting to be some stinkers, but like there's still enough really strong tracks for me where I'm like, okay, I can sit through the stinkers because he's still got it,
Okay, for that, the one you said you liked, The Human Body, did you touch on how it's like he's sniffing and doing all these?
Yes, he did.
I was like, what is going on?
Well, it's like body sounds.
Yeah.
He didn't have a girl queefing in it, did he?
Probably. It's probably buried in the mix among Prince.
All right.
Moving on.
So what's the next stop on our journey?
They sing Crystal Ball and Kama Sutra and The Truth. So
all right. So Prince. Now I know there was a lot of sloppiness. He started having an online music club. Wasn't there an online
It wasn't-
release.
Oh, there was a shit show with the Crystal Ball release because it wasn't supposed to be available in stores, and then they decided to put it in stores, but then it was going to be the 4-disc version, not the 5-disc version. And then somehow some stores got it, and then people that got it in the store got it quicker than people that pre-ordered it like 2 years before, and all this. There was just like a shit show of problems with this release.
So I have the 4-disc version that has the truth.
Yeah, there's a 5-disc version that's in like a circular case that you can take the top off. And a circular booklet, because that doesn't have a booklet. Or maybe it does.
Mine has a circular booklet.
Mine had a booklet, yeah.
Oh,
What was on the 5th CD?
Kama Sutra.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Ballet. Anyway.
And that's listed under MPG Orchestra.
Yeah, but I mean, Prince like wrote all the songs, so I mean.
Right, of course.
So
it's nice. It's not the best thing ever. I mean, it's pretty. It's like, it's the fact that it's like that Prince was associated with this just shows his diversity, which is great. But it's definitely not the first thing you would take a non-Prince fan to. They would not get it.
So the interesting thing about Crystal Ball at the time is this was really people's first peek into his vault. I mean, everyone talked about the Prince vault for years and years, and this is the first time he did an album all of vault tracks. Now, I don't want to call myself a casual fan because I was so into the first 13 albums or whatever. But then the later stuff, I just never got into it. And when I poked around this album, when I got it, nothing grabbed me the way that even like even like the Batman soundtrack. Like, so
we had a lot of songs on bootleg. So like for me, I was so happy to have like some of these songs in perfect quality. I mean, here's another podcast confession. When my friend and I ordered Crystal Ball, the 5-disc one, but
right?
We couldn't, so we bought it at the mall. And my friend and I, we put this first disc as we were driving out of the parking lot, and the first notes of Crystal Ball came on, and we had such bad quality versions of it, we couldn't believe our ears, and we both like we burst into tears. We were like, I can't believe it's in such good quality, because like it was really bad quality, and it was just like. It sounded like heaven, you know? And so many tracks were like stuff that we either didn't have or had heard, but like it's a sloppy release for sure. And definitely not the greatest, considering Prince's vault is so legendary. These are not the most legendary tracks, but like I freaking love this record.
So since we're kind of speeding through, what are some things that you guys really think people should look up on this?
Repop Good as Zippa is a reggae track, great song. Crystal Ball, the title track, is just a 10-minute weird track that's just like it's like almost a Parliament Funkadelic type song, but like in 1986 by Prince. Okay. You know, it's like
one of my favorites is Movie Star.
Yeah, that's Prince. You know, being a badass. Like it's like it's almost like a talking. It's like a skit almost, but it's a song, and it's like it's very.
I think a go-to for someone going to this album would be probably Calhoun Square, because it's got a good like rock and guitar solo.
Yeah, Interactive is great. It's kind of a hard rocking song. It's like an Endorphin Machine type track. Crucial, beautiful ballad.
So Dark is good.
Sexual Suicide is a very funky Sign of the Times parade era track. And then so this is where it's sloppy. Chlorine Bacon Skin, 15-minute track. It's him and Morris Day in the studio just like trading licks with each other. And it's cute for historical purposes, but it's like you wasted 15 minutes of a CD on that. Like that's something you give away like some other way. I don't know. And now Straight as the World, I think, is a great track. It's like a kind of a very theatrical.
Which one?
What do I call it? Straight as the World.
Oh, I don't really like that song.
That was from Glam Slam Ulysses. She Gave Her Angels is like a kind of a heart, like a rock song. Last Heart is a parade outtake. Poom Poom is that song that sounded like big fun. There's some good songs. The Ride, kind of a boring blues track, but he played it live from that point on until the end of his life.
The song I loved was actually Crystal Ball. Like I thought that was a really funky song.
Days of Wild is an awesome song.
Yeah. Which is a weird thing because that song is a song that he had a studio version, took it off the Gold Experience, and then performed it live like kind of differently every time, and so there's like no real good version of it, but they're all good, you know. He always did it differently, so you're like, oh, I like that version the best, and then he would do like another version. I know that version. There's a couple remixes on here. One of Loose, which is not a great remix, and then there's a Pussy Control remix, which is not great either.
So do I need to pay a lot of money for the Kama Sutra because I don't have that CD? Is it worth, or do you think they'll reissue it someday?
It's available on Tidal. You can just stream it.
Oh, okay.
It's so there's a track on Emancipation called The Plan, and that's the intro to Kama Sutra. If you like that track,
I love The Plan.
And one of the tracks is on the Versace Experience, right? That they released. I do have that.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Love Sign is a very good song. I love Love Sign. And Hide the Bone, that's kind of freaky, but I like it.
So overall, would you say this is an essential release or something people can pass on? Where would you give the Marcus scale? Up, sideways, or down?
I would give it definitely up, but I would say that it's not one of the first ones you should seek out. And it's a misnomer that his vault is only that good, because his vault is way better than that.
Right.
I think Prince was his own worst enemy in a lot of ways, and picking out those tracks, I think he did himself a disservice to vault tracks. But anyway, that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, I feel like I questioned Prince's skill as an editor a little bit in the 90s, because with so much, when I skipped through Emancipation, there were some songs I just thought weren't that great. Then the same thing with the Crystal Ball. I knew there were better vault tracks, and once they've done the reissues now, so at this time, I hate to say this out loud, I began to wonder if having a big label like Warner Brothers to kind of help edit things wasn't a bad thing. And I know that's a controversial thing to say.
It's weird because
I never had that song.
I mean, he was definitely getting sloppy, but I mean, at this point in his life, he's had, he's been famous for 2 decades probably, and
right.
And then as many dozens and dozens of albums. I mean,
he didn't know his shit really. Like I do love that he did what he wanted to do. I do.
Yeah, and then the next record is The Truth, which is, so he released in one package. He released a classical music record, an acoustic record, and then a record of vault tracks, which are all over the place, from like neo soul to
blues,
weird,
rock.
Right, and hard rock. So I mean, in a way, this package does represent the breadth of his artistic creativity, but not necessarily the best songs.
So what about The Truth, the acoustic album? I have the Record Store Day vinyl that came out a couple years ago. Was it a revealing package?
Yeah, there's a couple songs about his child dying and stuff. There's some sad songs on here for sure. And some, like, there was a lyric that I like, the song called One of Your Tears, and it's like, sometimes I want to die and come back as one of your tears. I think that's that evokes an image in my head, which I really have always loved. But I think overall, I like the first, like the first 3 songs a lot. The Truth, Don't Play Me, and Circle of a More. And then I feel like it gets kind of weak until pretty much the end of the record. But I like the last 3 songs, which are One of Your Tears, Come Back, which is that really extremely sad song, and Welcome to the Dawn acoustic version, which there never was another version they released. So that in his vault somewhere there's some other version of it.
Right.
So one day.
But I'm with you on all those songs. Yeah. Skip the ones in the middle.
So do you guys give it a sideways?
Yeah.
Sideways pointing up. Sideways pointing up, because the fact that he did a record like this, I'll forgive the weakness of the songs for the fact that he did a record like this.
Right.
Because it's like way out of his wheelhouse. So I think, but I mean, not really, because Prince did everything, but I mean,
but it was cool. He took chances. You know what I mean? He took chances.
And I love
later than he still kept going after Sign of the Times. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, that's why I was so interested. And I mean, I was interested in him throughout, but definitely towards the very end, I was kind of like, oh my God.
Right.
Anyway.
All right. So where do we go from there?
The next record, according to this book, is New Power Soul, which is a credit to the New Power generation. But I mean, for crying out loud, he's on the cover.
I remember when this came out, Rolling Stone gave it
Soul, yes.
Rolling Stone gave it 2 stars. So I remember thinking or like 1 or 2 stars. I can't remember. But as a huge Prince fan growing up, I remember like just checking out during this era, and I was like, "Oh, I never even got this album until years later, and I don't even know if I ever listened to it more than once." What did you guys think of it?
It's got some. It's grown on me over the years. I didn't like it when it first came out. I
have a CD
like
single
it
for the
better now.
one.
It has a
I
lot
love
of
it.
weak
I love it.
songs.
So you love New Power Soul, Melissa?
I do. I love all the songs actually.
What is like? What's the vibe of the album? Is it like hip hoppy? What was he doing here?
No, it was there's a lot of loves. Well, not really ballads, but it's kind of like, well, the one is a ballad, obviously. I really like the one, and Wasted Kisses was kind of like, I don't know what you call that, like just R&B.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great track. It's a
Did you
really
call it
sad.
New Power Soul?
Yeah, New Power Soul.
That song's not great, I don't think.
No?
It's all right. Mad Sex I like.
Mad
It's
Sex.
and is sad. A lot of these songs are written about the death of his child, and then Mad Sex, of course, not is one of his Prince sex songs. When You Love Somebody I Like, Should We Do, Push It Up, Freaks on the Side, I think are boring. Come On, I freaking love. The
Come
one
on,
is
yeah. Come On is funky.
So why do you think this album
Prince twice to that song? And it was really funny because just recently I was telling a friend of mine, oh, I danced on stage with Prince one time, and here's the picture. And she goes, "Come On." And I go, "Oh my God, that was the name of the song."
Oh.
But I was like kidding.
Oh man, I had like 3 songs the first time 3 or 4 songs the first time I danced on stage.
Oh, nice.
It's interesting because this was the follow-up to Emancipation. Why do you think these albums were doing so poorly at the time? Was it the promotion? Was it the
Well, I think the single he released is the one, which is a ballad. I mean, it's like, I think Prince was never known for ballads. Prince was known for like funky track, or like funky
Right.
and weird tracks. And so I feel like,
Some were ballads too, though.
Diamonds and Pearls?
yeah,
Yeah.
I guess. But I mean, I just feel like the world was not into like a Prince ballad. The world was more into like, this was 1998. So like, Nirvana alternative wave.
Madonna was doing Ray of Light at the time.
Yeah. So it was like,
Say it was
This was
promotion.
still- yeah, I mean, the promotion for sure was definitely not great.
Was it self-released? He self-released it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, these songs are like, they're not the caliber.
I remember the only way I found it, there was a record store that sold bootlegs, and I always would go in there and look around, and I saw this in there. So I had never heard that it was coming out till I saw it like in the bootleg store. I'm like, oh, what's this?
And at the same time as this record, Shaka Khan and Larry Graham released an album, and Prince wrote all the songs on all those records too. And most of those are not super inspired, but there's a song on the Larry Graham one, which I'm not the biggest fan of Larry Graham, but I mean, I love his music and I respect his talent, but because the whole Jehovah's Witness thing, I'm a little salty about him. But there's a song that he samples like Get Off. It's like he kind of samples like Get Off.
Oh,
And it's called like Utopia. That song is so funky. Oh my God. It's probably like one of the last songs where like Prince was just so freaking funky. Not one of the last songs, but definitely it started getting lesser and lesser. Anyway.
Cool. So, how would you guys rank this one? New Power Soul. Thumbs up.
Sideways. Again, these are like, they're not horrible, but they're not great. It's not Prince's fault. It's just you can't make great, perfect music forever.
Right.
He was still doing pretty good, pretty damn good. Because when the song was good, it was great. So, in my opinion, next up is The War, which was like a kind of an NPG music club. It was just a jam. He performed some weird jam at Paisley Park, and they released it on a CD single.
Which is like goes to like $500 because I'm missing that one. I'll never be able to afford that. Do you think they'll ever re-release it? Probably not, right?
Because they seem to be re-releasing all the stuff that's worth money.
Yeah, okay.
Total sense, but anyway.
So maybe Kama Sutra on the War will come out. Please, if anyone's listening, release it.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not anything exciting.
Okay.
Okay, I would give it a thumbs down. But it's again, it's just like a
Oh, I love
if you were at that
Oh.
if you were at that thing, it's probably great. So the next thing was the Vault Old Friends for Sale, which is a collection of Vault tracks. Again, not a great representation of Prince's catalog for the Vault.
Oh, the wrong thing. I'm showing the wrong thing. I'm showing the greatest romance ever.
We're getting that next.
Here it is. Here's the Vault.
Yeah.
So this is what really ended his contract with Warner's, right? Wasn't this the last of his obligations to them?
No, the last one was Ultimate Prince, which is the one I worked on. That
Okay.
was the very last one. But I think that was. It wasn't until 1999 he became free, and so it was that, and then that they had the contractual greatest hits record.
Okay. So is there anything on here that's an essential? Do people need to seek this out, or can they totally skip it? Hey, Clark, welcome. We're on the Vault, Old Friends for Sale.
I do think When the Lights Go Down is an extraordinary song, but it's just one of. It's not really worth seeking out, to be honest with you.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I like all of them.
Oh.
I like The Rest of My Life. I like It's About That Walk. She Spoke to Me. Five Women is one of my favorites.
Was there a vibe to this album? Wasn't it a little bit jazzier, or am I imagining things?
A little jazzy.
Yeah, a lot of those songs are outtakes from the I'll Do Anything movie.
Yeah.
It's like super weird that they didn't release all of them. They just released some of them. And that record is like 40 minutes or less.
What's I'll Do Anything? What is that?
It was a movie that James L. Brooks made. And it was not a great movie to begin with. And originally it was going to be a musical with Prince writing most of the songs.
Okay.
And that when they did the first test screening of the movie, like literally the whole place walked out like 5 minutes in. And so they cut all the songs out of the movie, but the movie was based on the songs. So then the movie didn't make any sense after the songs were removed.
Oh.
It's like it was like one of the biggest box office bombs ever at the time. And I'm sure that did not help Prince's relations with Warner Brothers.
Right.
Which were already like had exploded at that point.
Mark, do you have anything to add on the Vault, Old Friends for Sale?
I'm with Melissa. I like most of these songs. I especially like It's About That Walk and Sarah, which Jeffrey's right. They're throwaways, but they're fun.
I don't dislike this. I don't dislike this tracks. Don't get me wrong. I just think that it's like it's like he pulled it out of his ass and threw it in a pile and said, "Take this."
Yeah, they're not essential by any means. So no.
All right.
Next up is 1999, The New Master, which is
okay.
Which one?
1999, The New Master.
Oh.
Not good. Not good.
I swore I had that somewhere, but I don't see it here. Yeah, it was weird not having Jill Jones on the vocals.
Yeah.
But it's like
everything about it's weird.
7 versions of it that are all re-recorded and they're all awful.
What does the cover of that one look like?
It's like a picture of his face. It looks like almost like a cyborg. It's like a half picture of his face.
Like pipes and wires and shit.
I would try and hold it up, but this book is heavy.
Right.
I forgot about that one. It was the same tracks. Like, it didn't really catch me. I'm like, oh, I think I bought it anyway, but there's no reason to.
Yeah, same. Of course, I bought it.
Yeah.
So the next is we're in the year 1999.
Okay.
And he releases an album featuring the title track that was written in 1987 called Raven to the Joy's Fantastic.
So here's that. I have the Greatest Romance Ever Sold. I have the Man of War promo single. And then, of course, I have the remix of the Rave into the Joy Fantastic.
I love the remix.
And a couple years ago, the Estate did the re-release with all the versions and then a live. So at the time, it was a big deal because this was the first time that Prince was back in the fold. The album was produced by Prince. And we had some guest performers. Wasn't
Lots
Cheryl,
of guests.
yeah, Sheryl Crow. He did
Gwen
a Sheryl Crow
Stefani.
song, Gwen Stefani, Ani DeFranco.
Chuck
So
D.
Chuck D.
yeah, so I'm gonna let you guys talk about this. I'm gonna step away for a minute. Do you guys have enough to talk about this album for one moment while I step away?
Yeah,
I think
Okay.
I think so.
without you.
I think overall it's kind of a weak record. It starts off pretty good and then it starts to take a decline towards the end. But I do like, again, with Prince, when there's a good song, it's pretty great. I loved Hot With You a lot. Baby Knows I liked a lot. But like Every Day is a Winding Road, I thought was horrible.
Oh my God. I need to get Marcus on here for this because he loves Pretty Man. Like, that is his all-time favorite. So when you said it's weak at the end, he'd be like, "Oh hell no!"
I do like that song, but like I Love You But I Don't Trust You Anymore, which he played live like till at the end. I hate that song. It is so boring, and I'm like, why? Like
Jeffrey, wasn't this a Clive Davis thing? Wasn't
Yes.
this like very much under his direction? I know it's produced by, but
Oh,
wasn't the project
Yeah.
directed by Clive Davis, and this was kind of his formula to throw a bunch of guest stars into a mix and hope something good comes out?
Yeah, but I mean, like some of these tracks, I'm like, how did this get by Clive Davis? Like Silly Game is like a terrible song. And Strange But True is a terrible song.
I love Strange But True.
Really?
I don't remember how Silly Game goes, but I love all the other songs.
It's like a really syrupy pop track. It's like not good. And Wherever You Go, Whatever You Do is I like. It sounds like for a Forever in My Life type song. I like that track. But like So Far So Pleased is kind of boring. Tangerine is boring. The Sun, the Moon, and the Stars I like.
Yeah, wasn't there some
Undisputed is not great. The Greatest
Wasn't
Romance
there-
Ever Sold is not great.
Which one?
The Greatest Romance Ever Sold. Did you like that?
I love that
I did
song,
too. I like that
Really?
song.
especially with the
Yeah.
Eve. Yeah, and Undisputed. I love. Every Day is a Winding Road. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
wasn't a big
I
fan.
just listened to a little bit of Silly Game. It's not bad. It's not as bad as that Sheena Easton song. Arms of Orion.
I like that song.
I
You,
think
you
I
never
recall.
did like that.
I think I recall that he wanted So Far So Pleased to come out as a single, and there was something about No Doubt didn't want it to come out because he was asked about that, and he said, "Ask No Doubt about it," and so there was some kind of stress, I thought, around that. I don't know if it was charted or not, but I think he wanted it as a single.
I liked Waiting Room, which was written for the No Doubt record.
So was the song Rave Unto the Joy Fantastic re-recorded, or is it the same version from
No, it's the
1980?
same version from 1988, and it sounds completely out of place on that record. It is like such a lame brain idea, in my opinion, because it doesn't fit at all. It's like it totally sounds like a track from the 80s, and then the rest of it sounds modern, and you're like, why? What?
Doesn't he actually say that phrase on the Batman soundtrack
Yes.
somewhere? Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, it's a really I mean, I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall when this was all going down because a lot of people compromised. I don't know who and what side, but lots of compromises were made for this freaking record.
I just remember, wasn't Clive Davis behind it a little bit?
Yes.
And it was just supposed to be a huge hit, then it wasn't.
Well, it
I
was
saw-
just he didn't really do a ton of promotion for it either. It was
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I think a lot of balls were dropped on both sides.
All right.
I would give it to Sideways.
I still give it
Jeffrey,
down.
unrelated, how many celebrities are with you right now?
Just me. I've had a pretty good run of like being in random places. I've been at a lot of fun things. LA has like been stepping it up a notch lately. I've been like at a lot of fun things lately that there've been fun people at.
I live vicariously through your adventures, so
I'll have to tell you a story when we pause this about this crazy thing that happened to me last week.
okay.
Like
All right.
it's the most Jeffrey story ever.
I'm going crazy because I can't find my 1999 New Master CD and my Purple Medley CD. I know I have them somewhere. So after I get this podcast,
I think I actually passed that up. That should have been in like 1995. That was for the people that are watching this and don't know what that is. That's a track that Prince did a medley of all of his songs and re-recorded the whole thing. It's kind of cheesy, but I love it.
Yeah, it sounds like a
It's
song.
kind of cheesy.
It sounds like a song from a show about Prince.
Yeah.
All right.
And
So,
I unfortunately, when I worked on the Ultimate Prince CD, that I wanted to have that as the very first track because I thought it was a really cute overview of his career. And Prince did not like that idea, and I
he
was
was not
so
having
annoyed.
it.
I was annoyed with it because I thought like, yes, it was re-recorded versions of every song, but I mean, I just thought it was like really cool because it's like he was able to take all of his songs and make a medley out of them. And it's like
Yeah.
pretty cool. I mean, and then the long version has even more songs in it, and it's just like God, it's like crazy that he not only wrote those songs but then came up with like a completely different arrangement of them all. You know. Anyway.
All right. So that takes us out of the 90s. Clark and Melissa, what did you guys? What does everyone give Rave?
Oh yeah. I'm
I'm a plus.
Is there much difference between the Into and the Unto? Is the remix album worth seeking out?
Not to me. I mean, I know it's different, but it's not a major difference.
The Man of War, yeah. I think Man of War is better, the remix, than the album version, but that's pretty much it. Rave Unto whatever is like a really awful dance version of the song. Like that's the version that almost should have been on the record, although it's terrible. But at least it would sound like the rest of the record. But that's definitely not essential.
All right. Well, let's move into the 2000s.
So the next thing is when Prince went and did the NPG Music Club, and basically, well, I guess now they're sort of a thing.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. Let me go off this for a minute.
Yeah, I moved Clark.
Yeah, so he created the NPG Music Club because now he was free, and so every month, if you paid, I forget what it was. I think it was $100 a year or something. It wasn't much.
The Rainbow Children before that.
No, the Rainbow Children came. It was like around the same time, but all these came first, and then the Rainbow Children was like at the end of the year, or towards the end of the year. In November, actually, it was like I think that the anniversary was like last week sometime. But anyway, so he gave like 3 songs away a month, and then he did like an hour-long audio show with occasionally had a song in it that was unreleased.
Keep chatting for 1 second.
The tracks are, I mean, I think a lot of them were good. It's a little bit like grab bag, but I mean, I think a lot of them are good. There was When I Lay My Hands on You was great. Peace, Funky, Mad was a MPG outtake, good song. Funky Design is a good song. Splash is a Prince and the Revolution track, pretty good. Daisy Chain, not the greatest. Super Cute, I liked. Underneath the Cream was a ballad, I liked that. North Side, I thought was kind of boring.
Oh, I love North Side.
We'll have to do like an arm wrestling match one of these days to like.
This is how we funk on the North Side.
Habibi was a instrumental, nothing special. Props and Pounds was kind of middle of the road. Sex Me Not, I liked.
Golden Parachute.
Golden Parachute. S&M Groove was nothing spectacular. Why should I do that when I can do this? Was nothing spectacular.
Are these all the music club releases?
Yeah, nothing special. Judas Smile, nothing special. My Medallion was okay. Contest Song, nothing special. Instrumental. Vavoom, I liked. It was kind of a cutesy little sex song. And Silicon was like, I liked that one too. That's probably relevant to today about what's going on in the world. So that's kind of interesting. Thoughts, y'all?
I don't know any of these. So did anyone else know these songs?
Yes.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Jeffrey, with your belief that a lot of these songs are not special, as you say, are you of the belief that people that think that there's just incredible things in the vault still waiting to be discovered are probably mistaken?
I would venture to guess that like the things in the vault from like this period and onwards are probably similar to what he recorded. I mean, it would be nice to be surprised to find out that he recorded like a freaking hard rock album or whatever, or like you know, something really off the wall. But I have a feeling that the songs that are unreleased are probably the caliber of the tracks that were released, is what I would think. Because if you think about the tracks from like the ones that we've heard so far, the 1999 Purple Rain and Sign of the Times tracks, I think all of those tracks are as good as tracks that we've heard all along. It's just they had too many, you know. So that's what I would think, but I could be wrong. I'd love to be surprised. I'd love to be wrong.
Yeah, because I think there's a prevailing belief that there's some masterpiece that's hidden way back there that never saw
I'm sure.
the light
I mean,
of day.
Prince made good music throughout his life. In my view, which is my opinion only, it just started getting lesser and lesser as the years went on. Like, you know, I mean, I mean, again, some people love everything he did, but I feel lyrically, he just took a big nosedive. But which to me, it's all about the lyrics, you know, and then everything else is good too. But it's like, you know, his voice sounded great throughout his whole life. Music wise, he was always proficient. So it wasn't like he didn't know how to play anymore or sing anymore. It's just that in my view, like the lyrics took such a huge nosedive and the music became so generic.
Okay.
That reminds me, there's a petition right now to get him in the Songwriters Hall of Fame.
Oh, he should absolutely be. I can't believe he's not in there already. That's, you know, I mean, like literally the guy's a genius. No matter how much I dislike the latter part of his life, I will give him an A+ for his career because what great music he created. I mean,
right.
You know, I don't know if we want to wait for Jeremy, but because he doesn't know the music anyway. But Rainbow Children is the next one, which is his 2001 introduction to his fans to Jehovah's Witnessdom. And in my view, I would consider this record a masterpiece ruined by terrible lyrics. Because musically, this record kicks ass, but I cannot get past the preachy lyrics.
So we're on Rainbow Children now?
Yeah, see? Yes.
So here we are.
In my view, for someone that taught me all about life and everything I needed to know about sex and everything I needed to know about women and men and relationships, and spirituality, for this record to be so preachy, I was like, fuck you, Prince. No offense. It really hurt my soul when this record came out because I couldn't believe that person that was so open-minded has now become so close-minded. And it ruined, from this point on, it ruined the rest of his music for me, where I was just like, I always think about it when I hear his music from this period on while he was alive. Now I'm nostalgic for Prince, but anyway, my opinion only.
And just so you guys know, look what I found. I found my 1999
Oh, good.
master.
Oh, good.
I wonder if it's worth anything. Probably not.
Life goes on. The only thing I'm missing is Purple Medley, but I know I got it somewhere here. I'm gonna let that go for now. I remember a lot of people complaining about the segues on Rainbow Children with the voice that keeps talking.
That's the only thing I didn't like on Rainbow Children. Everything else I loved. Like, I'm sorry, I love the lyrics.
What about Wedding Feast?
Wedding Feast, that's my least favorite.
I have Rainbow Children song starts off with this like jazz. It's like a jazzy song with this great guitar solo outro, ruined by Prince preaching about his fucking religion.
I have a soft spot for 1 + 1 + 1 is 3 because I was in Lakeland for the live version of that shows up on the One Night Alone live album.
Nice.
So,
and I love the Work Part 1. That's a funky song.
I mean, like Muse of the Pharaoh, I would like, but the lyrics I can't stand.
I feel like this was such a divisive album. People either felt it was a masterpiece or total garbage. And
then Family Name I would like, but the lyrics I can't take. The Everlasting Now I would love, but I can't take the lyrics. I mean, that lyric, the chorus of Everlasting Now to me was like the nail. Like it like makes me want to cry when I think of the fact that the lyric is accurate knowledge of Christ and the Father will bring the everlasting now.
Melissa, do you disagree?
To someone who sang sexuality is all you'll ever need. Go fuck yourself, Prince. No offense. Anybody that wants.
It's a nice balance. You can have all of it. in a nice bowl.
You can't regress like that. No, there's no way you can regress like that. If you didn't have that to begin with, totally fine. But like that's a regression to me. But anyway.
Well, he had the Lord's Prayer in the other ones.
That is
Yeah, but the
true.
Lord's Prayer was like, I'm just gonna offer this to you, and if you want to do something with it, feel free. Now it's like, if you don't believe what I believe, you're wrong. Because and I know this.
That's not how I
know
took
this.
them.
I know this because I got into an argument with him at Paisley Park during this record about religion.
Uh-oh.
Yes,
Well,
but that's a story for another day.
I thought it was interesting that he did this like kind of 180 with this album, and then he invited all the fans to come give their opinion in the celebration that he held.
Because he wanted to know if he was over, because this is a very divisive record. Whereas before he didn't care. Now it's like, you know, you're alienating like a lot of people that are not religious.
Right.
Because he was always like, I'm just going to present it and you can do what you want. And now it's like, you're here to learn from me, you know? Anyway. But musically, this record is great. There's guitar solos and funky and, you know, all the things that make a really great Prince record, except for me, the lyrics just really. Anyway.
All right. Well, any other thoughts on Rainbow Children before we move on? Where do you guys give it on the thumb scale? If you're thumbs up, thumbs up.
I'm going to give it a thumb sideways, even though I hate it so much. I hate the lyrics. But musically, I think it's a master. I think it might be his last masterpiece, actually. But
so I have a couple odds and ends, and I don't know if they cover in the book. I have a CD single with Angie Stone. Is that around this time?
There's more MPG music tracks that came out after Rainbow Children, so we're going to get to that in a second.
Okay. Then there was the Best of Prince when Warner Brothers did the
There's nothing
compilation.
new on that, so that's just
Yeah. All right. So take us away with the NPG tracks.
Okay, so there was Paradigm that was a solo track with George Clinton, which is funky. Waiting Room with No Doubt, which we talked about already. Then there was High, You Make My Sunshine, Gamilla, which is an instrumental, Poor Goo, which is a blues track from The Undertaker, Breathe Ballad, Madrid to Chicago Ballad, and then at that same time he also released One Night Alone.
The song One Night Alone, right?
Oh, the record, which is a piano record. That was an MPG club.
So that's
special.
this one here.
Yes. He released a live album and that was packaged with it.
What'd you guys think of the One Night Alone album?
Love it.
Yeah, I like it.
I'm not a big fan. I don't know. I was like, again, so excited for like a piano record, and I feel the songs are kind of boring.
And then I have a Days of Wild CD single. So is that part of the NPG tracks?
Oh my gosh.
Kind of thing?
Yeah.
Live in Montreal?
Love it.
Yeah. That's a good version.
Cool. There's lots of stuff to collect from this era. And a lot of it's digital only. So I hope the estate put some of the stuff on hard copy.
Yeah. I had them all. I was in the MPG Music Club, and then I had a computer that crashed, so I lost it all. I was so upset.
Yeah, they need to redo all that.
Yeah, they got to have records of who was in the club and maybe reach out to them and make some of that stuff available again. And we did pay to be in the club.
Right.
I have it all somewhere on a hard drive. I'm sure. I downloaded it all at the time, and sitting there somewhere. But
I think that would be a great release from the estate, is to compile it all on a box set.
They released I don't know. Actually, I think they are on Spotify. There's they kind of came up with a compilation called The Chocolate Invasion and
Slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think those are on Spotify.
Okay. So those were the NPG tracks collected.
It's only 10 tracks each though, and there was way more, but at least it's something.
Okay.
And I mean, again, those tracks, it's not the first place you would start with Prince, but I mean, a lot of them are listenable. So
all right.
It was they were not preachy, which was good. So they were probably written prior to this era. Next was Expectation, which was a jazz only, digital only release from the MPG Music Club, where every track started with the letter X.
Okay.
And I mean, I don't even know I don't remember which ones I like, but I would say some of them were good and some of them were not special. And the tracks were 3 to 4 minutes long, so they didn't get crazily weird, you know.
Okay.
There's an X song on the One Night Alone live album that's not on that.
Xenophobia.
Yeah.
Because Prince.
Oh.
Which I think the tour was like Xenophobia, and then he like didn't release that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I have a shirt that says Xenophobia.
Yeah. Yeah, because the celebration was, I think that year was called that, which was the year that I went. That was very fun. Next up is News, NEWS, which stands for North, East, West, and South, for 14-minute exactly instrumentals, which Clark absolutely loves, I know.
I'm a big fan.
I love it.
So why do you guys love it?
I just like the sound of it. It's kind of different than anything else he ever did. I mean, he's done other jazz stuff, but this was really straightforward instrumental jazz stuff, and I just think it's interesting. Every song goes in different directions, and it keeps me entertained throughout.
Okay. I picked up at this music store that was on Del Mabry that's long gone. They had like a venue in the back. It was like South Del Mabry, and I just remember that sitting there along with Mariah's Glitter vinyl. So I bought News and Glitter on vinyl the same day. So there's my little news story.
I mean, I bought News at Best Buy, and to think that like Best Buy would sell this record because it's like it's such a weird. I mean, but yeah, it's I think it's worth money now because it's like hard to find.
It's kind of a deep dive in the catalog, right?
I mean, it's basically just because Prince was such a badass. He just like had the musicians come to Paisley Park and he just hit record,
Right.
And they either stopped or I don't know if they edited or what, but I mean, my biggest gripe I think with this record is a lot of the tracks kind of end at like the 9-minute mark, but it goes to 14 minutes, and the last three minutes are just like this like really slow fade out, and you're just like, this could have been
that's true
something else. That's like probably my biggest gripe with it. But like that first song, North, very moody. I used to listen to that like first thing in the morning, like when I got to work to get in the mood, just to like start working, you know, because it gave me like a nice little vibe.
Yeah, they're going for about $23 on Discogs is the cheapest one. So
that's not too bad.
At least it's not a cutout.
And to me, it kind of sounds like an Eric Leeds album with Prince playing on it in parts.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's true.
Cool. So I have this next in my lineup. I have a Controversy CD single that came with his Hawaii book. That smells like incense.
C Note, which was like 4 instrumental tracks plus Empty Room, which finally he released that track.
Okay.
It's a live version, but and then next would be Musicology, which was Prince's comeback record.
So was One Night Alone before? Wasn't that before Musicology?
Yeah, we just talked about it.
The live album, though. Let's talk about the box set for 1 minute.
Oh, the live album. Yeah, we didn't get to that. It's a concert compilation of that tour, the One Night Alone tour, which supposedly he had just gotten married to Manuela, and apparently she was she was like a diehard fan that she met him that way, and she convinced him to play a bunch of his old tracks, and so he played songs on that tour that he hadn't played for years.
And then they re-released it as the box set that had the One Night Alone piano album a couple years ago. So that was one of the estate releases.
Yeah.
Yeah. And at that time in history, that tour was part of a trend. It was after 9/11 where big stars weren't playing stadiums anymore. They were playing little theaters for higher ticket prices. And that's what that tour was. I saw him in a really small theater in Lakeland, Florida, which he wouldn't have set foot in prior to something like 9/11 happening.
My friend James was at the show, and he said that Prince said, if you're here to hear Purple Rain, you're in the wrong place.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did say that, yeah.
So that box set, I think, is pretty rare now, but I guess with the reissue, it's not as rare anymore.
Yeah, my brother's in the booklet. There's like the page in the center is like from Prince's vantage point looking out into the audience, and my brother's in the front row. And I didn't go that night because my boyfriend at the time was like, I took him to the show, and he was like, we waited in line all day long in the NPG Music Club. You got into the sound check. And so we sat in line all fucking day long. And in the sound check, I'm dying because Prince played. There was the only time I ever heard Can't Stop This Feeling I Got. He played that at the sound check. And songs like that, I think he played like Power Fantastic and some other stuff. And my boyfriend at the time didn't know any of the songs and was like, what the fuck? And I'm like, we were an inch from Prince's face while he performed for us for an hour. Like, that's what's up.
Right.
So anyway, he was like so over it that he wouldn't let me go to, or not that he wouldn't let me, but like he didn't want to go to the after show and I didn't want to not go without him. So I was like, I didn't go. And I'm like, ugh.
Red flag.
P control, you're P whipped. Hey, now wasn't the One Night Alone box set similar to Crystal Ball? How only some of them had the 4th disc or 5th or whatever they had the piano.
No, I think they all came. I think it all came with that.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Mine didn't come with it. I think there was a later edition that didn't come with it because I had to go back and before they reissued it, I paid like $150 for the piano one.
Wow.
I don't know. I got it at the time, so I didn't pay attention. But,
okay. All right. So
great band. The start of the band that would go on tour in 2004.
Yeah, the musicianship was great. I mean, Prince sounded amazing, all the stuff, and he performed "Adore" finally, like after all these years, because he'd always do like a minute of it, and that was it. And now he finally did like a full "Adore," and I mean, like, I was like bawling at that show because he played like everything for me. I was like just like dying,
Yeah.
And let's touch on this for 1 second because I paid like a damn $150 for this Controversy live CD single that's pretty rare. It came with the Hawaii book. It's like a live version of Controversy, and it smells like incense because I think Melissa, it came with the whole box of stuff, right?
Yeah, the purple. Yeah, I got the purple box.
And did it have incense in it? Because everything that I have smells like incense.
Yeah,
I could just sit here and smell this Controversy CD forever. All right,
the T-shirt, that.
Moving on to 2004.
Musicology.
This is an album that we are going to come back and discuss next year. I'd like to do it in April, but let's just do a little quick brief overview of it. This was definitely a comeback for Prince. They're playing the Musicology video on VH1. They weren't playing anything on MTV but like The Real World and bullshit by this point. But I do remember Prince kind of raising his prominence a little bit with this album. So what do you guys? I love this album. I actually liked it a lot.
It's one of my top 10.
I have the Cinnamon Girls CD singles. Yeah, I thought it was a great album.
I have 2 copies of it without even trying. I bought the one at the store, I got the one at the club, and then I got one for going to the concert.
Yeah, I got one in the movie theater, one at the concert, and then one at the store.
Mm-hmm.
I think the record is weak, but I do like some songs on it. I think like the song Musicology, for example, where he like name checks people through the whole song. I'm like, a person like Prince does not need to name check anybody. I don't know. It is so embarrassing.
It is a funky
No,
song.
I'm not saying it. So that's the thing. It's like this double-edged sword because it's funky, and then the lyrics are like cringy to me personally. But like,
see, I loved Cinnamon Girl at the time.
Yeah.
See, I thought that was very boring. Like, not worthy of Prince. Like, not worthy of his genius. A Million Days of boring. I liked The Marrying Kind and If I Was the Man in Your Life and What Do You Want Me to Do on the couch. That was boring.
Together. I like how those 2 songs kind of blend together.
Yeah, Jeremy Man I absolutely love, and Reflection I absolutely love. So it's like the songs that were good I loved, but I thought a lot of it was weak. I thought as a comeback album, not the greatest selection. I felt like it could have been stronger, but I'd still give it a thumbs sideways, like tilting up.
See, I gave it definitely an up.
I remember there was a game on the Music Club website where you could play the song Musicology an instrumental with all the different. You could play the instruments separately before it came out as the song that we knew about.
Right, I remember that. You had to like open certain things to get. Yeah, but yeah, it was neat.
I don't know. I remember, and as a casual fan of his later stuff, I remember when this album came out, just feeling like, oh, this is a Prince album. Like, it might not be his strongest material, but it just felt kind of comforting at the time. After
it does feel like a Prince album. I will give it that.
There was so much stuff that just felt kind of didn't catch me, so it was nice to just kind of feel like I could be inside his music again.
Well,
wasn't his best.
And 2004 was kind of a celebration of 1984, so
right,
a little bit of a victory lap on his part.
Yeah, the tour was great. I'm in that video for like the one that's like they showed in movie theaters, like for like a blip a couple times, and then they show my ex who hated the One Night Alone tour. I dragged him to this one too because I was like, "You're coming. I don't give a shit." When Prince does the acoustic set in the distance, like the way that they shot it, when he lifts his elbow to start playing his guitar, you can see my ex-boyfriend like right under Prince's arm. I'm like, unbelievable that he's in that fucking video.
It's something this is out of order. We already skipped by it, but should we mention the Live in Vegas DVD that came out at all? Aladdin? Is that from 99?
Yeah, that was kind of like a gift to the fans, the members of the club. I remember it was kind of like, hey, here's something for you guys, a souvenir kind of thing.
Okay, yeah, just something I wanted to touch on.
They released like a Prince concert and it's not the complete show, and you're just like, who comes up with these ideas?
Yeah.
Some of the camera work's not great.
No, it's like, again, sometimes Prince just wasn't thinking clearly.
So the next thing go ahead, Clark.
A moment from the 2000 from the musicology tour. So the show in Tampa, I had second row seats, and the stunt he always pulled where he'd sit down and stop a song and act like he wasn't getting enough adoration and like milking the crowd for applause. He and I shared an eye contact moment.
Okay.
During that, which I thought lasted 12 minutes, and now I've seen bootlegs of it, and it's like 4 seconds.
Oh, the best 4 seconds of your life, Clark.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes.
So the next thing I have in my stack is the CD single SST. It doesn't stand for Sade Sweetest Taboo.
It does.
And this was a charity single for Hurricane Katrina, correct?
Right.
I think it's a little bit on the rare side now.
Oh,
probably.
Really? It's a great song. It unfortunately didn't get a lot of attention when it came out.
Right.
It just kind of came and went, which is sad because it was pretty, real groovy song. Like you heard it and you went,
yeah.
Like, one of those, like a lot of times when I listen to a Prince record, most tracks you just like immediately, like the first note, you're like, oh, I like it already, And this was one of those songs where you're like, from the second it starts, you're like, okay.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting. He was referencing Sade. Okay, it's only $21 on Discog, so I guess it's not that rare. I had an instrumental called Brand New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Nothing special.
Hey, Jeremy, I got to jump off for a couple minutes. I'll be back though.
Okay,
right?
We'll see you. Okay. We'll see you at 3121.
All right.
All right. So what's next, Jeffrey?
Next is.
Do you think this is worth? So you think this is worth someone seeking? Can you get this digitally now, or
you cannot?
Okay, so you got to get the CD for this one.
Yeah, it's a good track. You can listen to it on YouTube.
Yeah,
And then the last that instrumental is just like a jam. It's nothing spectacular. So next is 3121.
Melissa, I know you love this album.
I do love this album. How did you know?
It's pretty good. I
only made a whole photo shoot to 3121.
I remember seeing
his last, in my opinion, his last pretty strong album.
So you like 3121 better than Musicology?
I do, yeah.
Do you, Melissa?
That's tough. I don't know. I guess they're equal.
I kind of put these as a trilogy: Musicology, 3121, and Planet Earth, because they're all kind of prominent albums.
Yeah,
more than New Power Soul and stuff that no one was talking about. I did have friends that were buying these albums and talking about them. I remember the first time I saw Black Sweat, the video was on TV, and I was like, holy shit, this is a funky song. Unlike in a way that Prince hadn't been in years, and it was a different sound for him. I thought it was going to be a lot bigger hit than it turned out to be. I just thought it was right up there with Kiss the first time I heard it. Now maybe...
Yeah, in the clubs especially, with Get Off and all that, I thought it would be more played in the clubs, but it wasn't.
And it wasn't the first single Ti Amo Corazon?
Yes.
In my opinion, what an awful choice for the first single.
Black Sweat should have been the lead single, don't you think?
What song?
Black Sweat?
Yeah, or even,
there's
so many other ones. Fury could have been a good one. Love would have been a really good one.
Love. Incense.
Which wasn't even released as a single,
And that was the name of the place where he recorded the album, 3121. That was the house.
Yeah, it's a house that's in LA.
Have you driven by 3121?
I have driven by it. My friend, it's actually really funny because he had this other house, and it was where he was living around the chaos and disorder era. And in the video to Xana Lee, we literally drove by this particular house. It was on Heather Way, and then we pulled over. You can't really see much, but you can see the balcony and you can see the gate. And then if you watch the video to Xana Lee, like there's like a scene where Prince is like standing on that balcony, and there's like a scene where he pulled up in front of that gate, and I was like, no way, we're like right there. But 3121, you can't really see it. I know a lot of people that went to the house and have crazy stories about that era in Prince's life.
I think my friend was just selling a pillow on eBay that was from 3121, the house or something. And he claims there was a stain on it,
wow.
which we won't talk
Can
about.
we take a break in like 2 seconds? Because I have to use the bathroom. And I want to tell you an off the record story about 3121.
Yeah, let's finish 3121. Do you guys have anything else to say about the album? I'd give it a thumbs up. I loved it.
I love it.
I give it a thumbs up too, but I think there's some weak tracks. Like The Word, I think, is a weak track. I think
One of my favorites.
Oh,
I think Get on the
yes, I
Boat,
love
like,
that you love everything.
Get on the Boat, I think, is a very weak track. It's very
Which one? Get on the boat.
Get on
I
the
love
Boat.
it too.
very by the numbers. However, it has a special place in my heart because I was front row for the Good Morning America taping. And
I was there too.
oh, really?
Yeah, I drove all the way there. I was like, I gotta go see Prince. Good Morning America.
I worked at ABC at the time, and the person from Good Morning America got me. She's like, if you show up at this time, you'll be in the front row. And I was like, okay. So I showed up, and they literally.
What time? I got there at like 4 a.m. or 3 a.m.
Were you both in the front row?
No, I wasn't in the front row. I was back a couple rows.
You guys
I
might have
got
been
there,
so
like-
close to each other.
I know, right?
I know and I knew that there's people I met like later, like years later, that were there too. And it's just, that's how Prince things are. It's like we're all at the same spot, and then like years later,
I drove like all night. I got there at like
Cindy
3
Lauper
a.m.
stuff.
Watched
got
the
there, I think,
show
like,
and then left.
5:30,
and drove
I mean,
back.
5:30 or 6:30. But so my whole plan. So this is when digital cameras for me were like first coming. Like my first digital camera, it only held like 10 photos or 15 photos, and I was like, it's outdoors and it's on TV, so there's no way Prince can stop photos. And so I was like, I've seen him a million times. I'm just going to sacrifice the show and take photos the whole time. And I mean, unfortunately, it's like, again, I only can hold like 15 photos. So I had to look to make sure the photo was worth keeping, and then shoot him again, And so I was like, so of course they show me a million times on TV. And it's me looking down half the time at my screen to see if I should keep the photo. However, there's
Is
many
this on
times where I
YouTube?
was like, yeah, it's on YouTube.
So
During
let's
Get on
look
the
and
Boat, they
see.
show me-
We should look and
They
see how
show
if you
me-
guys are close to each other at all. That'd be awesome.
I think I was back, but I was holding a big sign up. I was like,
I'll find a picture that I'll show you. I probably can show it through my screen. In fact, yeah, because I have a bunch of them here.
Well, before we pause really quick, Melissa, since you
if you
love,
can see that.
that's amazing.
I made it black. I made everything black and white except me. So there's me. And
Oh,
there's
nice.
Prince.
Do you see Melissa with her sign in the background? Can you see her? Melissa, since you love this album, what are some songs that people should check out?
The dance is really good. I think you should check out The Word, but I'm not gonna go on that one. Love is really good, and Black Sweat. 3121 is interesting. I love it, but not everybody would love it.
Right.
But
It's funky,
it's
right?
kind of like a futuristic, yeah.
Hey, doesn't Camille come back on this album too, or am I imagining things?
No, Camille's back on the. Camille's on 3121.
3121, right.
Yeah. Supposedly
Which
that
one?
song was written. Supposedly that song is
The
a gold
song.
experience outtake.
Okay.
Which song?
3121.
3121 is a gold experience
Oh.
outtake, which is weird because he moved into a house called 3121, and I'm like, did the song come? Like, which came first, the chicken or the egg?
The
Which
chicken
came
and
first, the address or the
Right.
song? But
Right.
supposedly that song is really old. So
Fury is a really good rock song for people to listen to.
Well,
I feel like
cool.
it's kind of middle of the road personally, but
You don't think?
I'm a
but
thumbs.
during that era, Tamar, which was his side project, was touring, and Prince was like the guitarist, and he played like a bunch of major cities. And he was smoking on guitar during that era, man. And I feel like it's too bad it didn't really come across on any record, really. But in this one in particular, because he was just on fire with that guitar. And then her album got scrapped at the last second, but one of my favorite Prince rock songs is on that, which is Redhead Stepchild, which he played on that Good Morning America thing.
Yeah.
Well, let's rank this album, then we'll take a little break. I give it a thumbs up.
I'm gonna give it a thumbs up.
All right, let's pause for. All right, friends, we are back, and I'm going crazy. I hate losing things, and I cannot find my damn Purple Medley CD single. I know it's in this crazy collection, and I'm gonna find it. But I really, the last thing in the world I want to do is rebuy the Purple Medley. Like, I don't want to have to do that. But anyway, we just finished 3121, and we are in the home stretch talking about Prince, Beyond the Gold. Should I call this podcast Beyond the Gold Experience or Beyond 1995? Which title do you guys like more?
I don't like either one.
Yeah. Ditto.
Thumbs down on your titles, Gloff. Somebody's got to be anti.
All right, I'm gonna call it whatever I want. Where are we in the chronology?
So I'm gonna have to show this book again, Prince All the Songs. So Ultimate Prince is the greatest hits album that came out at the same time.
And who's the author of the book? Benoit
Clerk.
Benoit. I'm like Benoit. I'm so not worldly. Jeffrey Dicker, you're part of this album. This is part of this
album. So it came out. It was supposed to come out the day 3121 came out, and Warner Brothers pushed it back as a courtesy. But at the time, it was just scrapped completely. And so me and the guy that worked on it, he did the artwork, and I picked out the songs. We literally called each other. We were like almost crying. We were like, we literally like worked on our dream project, and it's not going to happen. Like the day before, the weekend before we're supposed to come out, and we were like devastated. And anyway, so at the time it was like they interviewed us, and then when it finally got released, they interviewed us. And so this book has an excerpt from one of the interviews I did and so it's just like funny that I ended up in this book. And funny note, they spelled ultimate wrong in the index. No. But when I saw that ultimate was in the book, I was like, oh, I wonder if they have quoted that interview I did. It's like I looked myself up in the book, and there I was.
Now, little did I know I'd become friends with you years later. But when this came out,
Jill Jones, which is the best fucking
Jill Jones. I was like, why didn't they put the Mountains remix on this? And little did I know I'd become friends with the guy that did the track list and get the answer to that question in person. But before you even go in there, what was Warner Brothers' angle with this album? Was it to get some of the 12-inch mixes on a CD? Why did they do this?
Warner Brothers had somehow in the Prince contract, they had the right to do a 3 CD set, a 2 CD set, and a 1 CD set of greatest hits. And so they had done the 3 CD one with the hits,
right,
and B-sides, and then they had done the 1 CD one with the very best of Prince. And so they had this one to do. And so
this is really finishing out the contract. Okay.
I had a job interview a year before that they worked on this. And when I went, my friend got me the interview, and it was a job I was not qualified for. It would have been my dream job, but I just wasn't qualified for it. But it turns out I go to the interview, and on that woman's desk, there was a folder that said Prince. And of course I was like, I'm going to take this chance. And I was like, I need to see what's in that folder. And so we literally spent most of the interview talking about Prince. And she was like, wow, you really know a lot about Prince. And I was like, I know, it's crazy. And so anyway, long story short, they were not going to do it. And they were like, but you know so much about him. If we ever do it, we'll call you. And so I completely forgot about it, didn't get the job. And then like a year later, they called me out of the blue, and they were like, hey, we're going to do that CD now. Do you want to work on it? And I was like, yeah, from that one job interview where I didn't get the job. So I picked out the songs, and they basically said, I said, what are your parameters? And they said, there's certain things we can't do. And so I worked within those confines, and I said, can I put 12-inch versions? And they said, yeah, there can't be anything unreleased. They're, and there was nothing unreleased. We couldn't use the Batman song because they couldn't get the clearances, which sucked because Bat Dance was the number one. Couldn't use Most Beautiful Girl in the World, and that was pretty much it. And so I was like, well, if they don't care, then let's put some 12-inch versions on there. And then they were like, they had to be hits. And I was like, okay. And then they didn't, I got She's Always in My Hair on there. And I was like, it was like the best I could do to put something really cool for fans on there,
Right.
That it like went past the censors because they didn't know, which is good for all of us because it's the only place that song was, the 12-inch version has been available on, So the original track listing was mixed up. There would be so it was originally the Purple medley to start it off, and then I Want to Be Your Lover, but then there was the 12-inch versions interspersed, and then at the last track was My Name Is Prince, and Prince didn't like that idea. So
it sounds like a hot track list.
It was good, and it's really funny because the track listing I provided to them, I burned them a copy, and they used my copy and made a CD for Prince to listen to, and they pressed it with the artwork. And I guess they didn't make very many of that exact track listing, and it's apparently one of the most sought after and expensive collectibles. And I don't even have it.
Oh wow! Is it on Discogs? Yeah. Have you ever looked?
It's crazy expensive. There was an article that the guy that worked on this with me, Matthew Baton, he did in Rolling Stone magazine, and it was a list of the most expensive Prince collectibles, and that was in there. And he mentioned me in the story, which is how I found out about it. And I was like, I didn't even know they pressed that. I'd never heard of it. But amazing experience, even though we had some complications. But yeah, they quote me in this book, which was kind of fun. So,
I have a question for Jeffrey.
Huh?
Jeffrey, you said that they told you they had to be hits. Did they give you a clear definition of what was considered a hit?
No, and then I basically just kind of, I know his catalog so well. I had a bunch of different versions of stuff, because obviously you couldn't. There's no point in putting a vault track. I mean, a deep cut as a hit, But on the 12-inch version, it was they didn't really say anything. But I mean, space limitations. I couldn't put Mountains or America, which I would have loved to. I was trying to put shit that had never been on CD before. So the people that that would bitch, because I'm a Prince fan too, and I would bitch that I wasn't allowed to put any unreleased songs. So this is the best I can do, is put some 12-inch versions.
I remember at the time I was thrilled to have all those 12-inch. I was thrilled that they were all on CD. So Jeffrey,
I wanted to
friends out there that you were going to make later that were thrilled.
Well,
came out.
I'm so thrilled. I mean, I wanted to make the whole thing 12-inch versions, but they had a couple songs they had to put on there, which made it not all 12-inch versions.
Right.
So, but yeah, what a cool thing. And I mean, and I also had Erotic City 12-inch version on there, which had so I was gonna have two B-sides. Right. And Prince didn't want it on there because it had the F word. And it was really funny because to me, I always thought he said funk. I wasn't sure. Oh, and so that confirmed that it was the F word.
That one.
Which after he passed, the handwritten lyrics were up for auction or something. There's a picture of it, and he certainly said "fuck."
So were you into this when it came out?
Sorry, I was reading something else. Oh, yes, I was very much into this. I love this album. Thank you, Jeffrey.
Yeah,
my pleasure. I'm so glad everybody likes it. And then
2 thumbs up.
Yay! And then after he passed, this album was top 10 all over the world. So I was like, if this is someone's first introduction to Prince, I feel like they have some really strong shit to go. I want to dig deeper.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
I feel like I put it out there in the world and I'm thrilled that that album did really well after his passing. Because I mean, the world needs to know Prince's music because it's so freaking great. Even with the shortcomings, in my opinion.
If there was nothing on there but the 12-inch Let's Work and She's Always in My Hair, it would have been enough for me. So
right, and you got the Look Long version and Kiss Long version.
Yeah. They used to play the Kiss Long version at this Club Masquerade in Tampa. They never played the short version. They always did the full extended.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it was so much fun to dance to at a club.
I mean,
that's in the late '90s.
Yeah, those versions are awesome.
All right, so where do we move next?
Next, one-off track, "Song of the Heart," which was for Happy Feet, that like animated thing. That's a pretty cute song.
Yeah.
What's it called?
"Song of the Heart."
Okay.
Song of the Heart. I love it.
And there's a live version. It's on one of the albums. Yeah, the Indigo Sessions or whatever it's called.
Next is Planet Earth 2007. In my opinion, a very, very weak album. And to me, it was like the start of me going, uh-oh, something is seriously wrong here.
I remember being underwhelmed by it, and I remember really being disappointed because I was so thrilled that he was working with Wendy and Lisa again. I'm just like, oh my God, this is amazing. And, you know, it turned out to not be an earth-shattering collaboration, in my opinion. Now, Melissa, did you love this album?
I do. Guitar is really good. The One You Want to See, Future Baby Mama, Mr. Goodnight, Chelsea Rogers, Resolution. I love them. Sorry.
Is that the one that was a Target exclusive?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll get there next, I think.
All right.
This one had the cover that changed.
In particular. I liked Resolution, and Chelsea Rogers to me was like just so generic, but I mean, like, you know, definitely funky. I mean, Lion of Judah and All the Midnights in the World, I think, are just horrible. Like, it definitely for me was like, oh God.
I could do without Lion of Judah, but All the Midnights in the World, it's okay. It's good.
I give that one a thumbs down.
I give it a sideways.
Yeah, that's as negative as I get usually.
And didn't he not want to pay Wendy and Lisa or something? Like they were all gung ho to be working together. Then it kind of went sour, right? Because didn't they appear on? They did appear on a song on this album, right?
Yeah, but I mean, who knows? You know, Prince. You know how Prince was. Prince had his moments where he was just
right. But you couldn't really hear him on the track, could you?
No, that's like one of the not great tracks. I'm like, I feel like they didn't get to collaborate. He probably told them what to do.
Right. What song was it that they were on?
I think it was Lion of Judah.
Oh, was that one? Okay.
It was like, wait.
All right.
Oh no, All the Midnights in the World with Wendy only.
Oh,
and that song to me is like really boring. And I'm like,
wasn't Sheila E on the album also?
I think so.
Yeah, because I just remember being so excited that some of the legends were back, and the music did not match my excitement or the hype. So definitely a disappointment. All right, so that ends the 2000s, right?
Well, then there's that 21 Indigo Nights live session, which was like a 3121 after show from or the 21
it was in a book, right? It was in a book.
Yeah, it was part of a book.
Yeah, I have the book somewhere.
I don't feel like that's a great representation of Prince live. I feel like that it's kind of weak, but oh no, we're still in the 2000s because after that is 2009. He came out with 3 albums at once, which was Lotus Flower, Minneapolis Sound, and then Bria Valente, the side project.
And this is the Target exclusive that you were speaking
that
of.
That was the Target. Okay, all right.
Yeah, it was like $9.99. It was pretty cheap for 3 CDs.
I remember going to. I thought it was so cool to go to Target and get 3 new Prince albums, and it didn't rock my world, but I didn't hate it, I guess.
It didn't rock my world either, but
I just heard Melissa sigh.
Melissa, what would you like to share your opinion with us?
Oh my gosh, Colonized Mind is one of my favorite songs.
That's a good song.
That's that's one. I'm trying to pull
I
up.
love Money from the MPLS album.
Now, how was Lotus Flower and MPLS? One of them was he was going for a retro sound.
One's more of like a guitar record, and one of them was more like a funk record.
Okay.
Dreamer's amazing.
See, to me, that's like a Jimi Hendrix ripoff. I just felt like not original, which, like, I don't know. I get really critical in this era for some reason.
The sparks are gonna fly. We got
to. No, everyone's entitled to their opinion. I mean, like, I'm glad that people enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like why would I be mad?
Things got heated on the final Joni Mitchell discussion, so on brand for Phonogenics. I think we need a good fight about Lotus Flower.
Old
Put 'em
School
up.
Company
Put 'em up.
on the Minneapolis Sound. Old School Company is one of my favorites. Valentina, that's kind of cool.
Is the Bria album anything even worth mentioning?
Bria,
I mean, she was
What,
built as a
Melissa?
Prince
You don't like
Friday.
something?
The one thing I liked about it was
Okay.
that Prince was deep in the Jehovah's Witness shit by this point, and the title of the record is Elixir, which is basically like him the singing "He licks her." So at least he was still being dirty, which I appreciated.
I don't. Do you think that's really what he meant?
Yes,
You do?
listen to that song. It's like
Oh,
Well, I'll never hear another way now.
Oh,
yeah.
you can't unhear that.
Yeah.
so do we grade these as a full package, or do we have to do each album individually?
I think we're pretty much done. I think we're ready to move on.
I give it a sideways, I guess.
I'd give it a sideways.
All right, moving on.
Oh my god! Then he released like a couple of one-off songs, which two of the worst songs he's ever put out, in my opinion.
Oh.
One was called "Turn Me Loose," which is a James Brown ripoff track. "Purple and Gold," which was for a football team, which I think is like the worst fucking song ever. And then "Cause and Effect," which was like the second worst song ever.
Melissa, did you like all three of those songs?
I have to listen to the other two again, but Purple and Gold, I agree. When it came out, I was like, "What the heck is this?" But then when you look at the anthems of like the football anthems, it kind of fits into that. I don't know if you call it a genre, but it kind of fits the theme when you go back and listen to it. But yeah, when I first heard it, I'm like, "Oh my god, this is like the worst song I've ever heard."
It's like it's like just such a bad song. It's like, what the fuck? So then we move on to 2010, the year 2010.
So we're in the final decade.
And so 2010 was given away with British newspaper.
You know it was bad when they had like a card sleeve. Like when the new Prince album was just a card sleeve. You know, it's a little
I
concerning.
think that album is like, I was already like starting to have an oh shit moment during Planet Earth, and now I'm like, oh no, he's really like losing it.
I have a CDR in there that says 2010 with bonus. Was there a version with a bonus track or something? I have no idea why this happened.
Lay Down.
Lay
Which
Down.
actually is the one like great song on the record. He was
Lay Down.
capable of doing a good song. It's just I just felt like, you know, again, you can't make good music forever, in my opinion. And
I love
like,
this album.
Oh,
what was that?
I love this album.
so why do you love this album? Someone coming into Prince, tell us like what's the sound, what's the vibe?
Well, this would not be the first album you would go to, but I don't know, the stuff he's singing about compassion and then he got the funky sticky like glue and then Lay Down, which were really cool. He's got those ballads in there. Act of God is a good song to me. I don't know. I need my backup. Where's my backup?
Oh, Marcus is with you? You're at his house?
Yeah, they're
Oh.
talking.
I didn't realize that. He's got to make a cameo at the end.
Marcus.
And then after that was a one-off version of Extra Lovable, which in my opinion was like horrific because that song was like so funky and nasty, and he completely polished it off and made it like clean. It like I just did not like that at all. And then he collaborated with Janelle Monáe on "Giving Them What They Love," which I love.
I
That
love
was a
that
good song.
And then next we move on to we're actually getting close towards the end. Next is Third Eye Girl, which was released on
Like my electrum.
Well, what about the CD single, The Dance for Me? When does that
That was on Lotus Flower.
Okay.
MPLS song. I like that song.
And then I have this too. Do I have this in the wrong spot? The Rock and Roll Love Affair.
That was on. No, that was on Hit and Run.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love this song. This is one of my favorite of Prince's later songs.
Oh, I didn't like that track at all. There was a dance that I liked, which was weird.
Got a 1999 sample. What's not to like?
So did the Purple Medley, and I can't damn find it. Okay, so we're on to Artificial Age, which came out at the same time as this, right? The Third Eye Girl, didn't they release them the same day?
Well, actually, wait, before that, there's like a whole bunch of like vault tracks that were released. I could just name them. To be honest with you, this was an era where I stopped listening to I would like hear like a minute of it and be like, eh.
So let's have fun. Name the song, and Melissa's gonna say whether she likes it or not.
Rich Friends.
What is it?
Rich Friends.
I don't know if I heard that one.
Okay.
Midnight Blues.
Oh.
Moondrop. The Third Heart of the Octopus Menstrual Cycle originally dropped from the moon.
I haven't heard any of those.
Indifference. The Sweeter She Is. Boyfriend, That Girl Thing, Live Out Loud. Ain't Gonna Miss You When You're Gone. See, like all these are for complete.
Ain't Gonna Miss You When You're Gone. That is a funky ass song. I love that song.
Okay. And then was that Plectrum Electrum and
Artificial Age.
Artificial Age came out at the same day.
One was with Third Eyed Girl, one was a solo album, right?
Yes.
The Third Eye Girl one's more rock and roll.
And this was an album that I absolutely the Third Eye Girl record I absolutely did not like.
Melissa is in so much distress right now. Did you like Artificial Age, Jeffrey?
No. I liked like one or two songs off of it, but Plectrum Electrum, I don't think I liked it. I liked one song off of it. I liked Another Love.
No.
And I kind of
Wow,
thought this
Wow is so underrated on Plectrum Electrum. The opening song, Wow, is amazing.
I will say that song gets stuck in my head when I hear it, but I don't really like it.
Around Plectrum Electrum, the guitar solo was good. White Caps, I love. Fix Your Life Up, I love. Stop This Train. Boy Troubles, okay. That's the one with Lizzo.
Oh, so Lizzo was around pretty early in the Prince.
I think her that's like her first appearance on a record. Is on a
wow.
Record. Yeah, so Prince was like ahead of the curve on that one.
No, I don't love. But Funk and Roll, I love the two different versions.
He was ahead of the curves. Clark, what was your thoughts on these two albums?
I liked when he was on New Girl. That's all I'm going to say about that.
That wasn't this one.
It was around this time, though. He had the afro. That's all I know.
Yeah, that was on the Hit and Run. But Artificial Age, it has Clouds, Breakdown. Oh my gosh, Breakdown is amazing. Like
Breakdown is definitely like the last great ballad, pretty much.
Breakfast Can Wait was big. That's when he did the video with
Dave Chappelle. And he had the Dave Chappelle skit as the single cover.
Yeah, he had that as the cover, but he did the video with Danny Lay directed it and was dancing dressed like Prince. She was in a band called Curly Fries, and then I guess they broke up. So then she started her solo career.
So Prince was married twice. I totally glid. How long did the second marriage last? Because I didn't even know about that.
Oh,
he was with Manuela during like that song "Call My Name" is about like it's like a love song dedicated to her, and when did they get divorced? I forget.
Okay. Well,
Artificial Age. The song Breakdown and like the song Time and Way Back Home. Prince, and if the rumors are true that he may have known he was dying, sooner rather than later, he's definitely being reflective.
But I heard Breakdown was written before, a while ago, before this came out.
Right, but still, he may have been. Obviously, sounds like he was on, painkillers.
But the
for a
way
long time, so maybe he was
back home and
feeling
the way
it.
he had the affirmations, I think that he had like a premonition of something.
Right.
Yeah, it's weird because Artificial Cage is like such a party track, and then it starts to get like very introspective, you know. But who knows? Prince was so genius that he may have seen what was coming. Who the frick knows, you know?
So how do you guys rank these albums?
Hmm.
So
I
for,
just
the album's called Artificial Age, and the song's called Artificial Cage.
yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
I think I give it a thumb sideways. And I give the Third Eyed Girl a down.
Yeah. I'll be honest. At
I
this
give
phase,
that
I've
Third Eye Girl like way down, and I give the other one
No.
like, down with like a thumbs going towards the side.
All right, what were you gonna say, Clark?
I'll be honest. At this phase, I was kind of like, everybody else. I was buying the albums to be a completist more than I was like dying to get it at home and listen to it. So I'm not going to say I was tuned out, but I was not as dedicated a listener at this point. So a lot of these songs, I remember the titles, but they don't make an impression.
All right.
Did you go back and listen before today?
I didn't.
Did
No.
anybody? No.
No.
I listened to this record I listened to Artificial Cage quite a lot. I didn't listen to Plectrum Electrum at all. I think I listened to I think there's some songs I've never even completed listening to because I dislike them so much. Like when everyone was like, "Oh, Lizzo's on a Prince track," I'm like, "Where?" And they're like, "She raps on a song." I'm like, "She does."
Is her part good?
I've never gone back to listen to it. I don't know why.
Is her part good, Melissa?
Is what?
Is Lizzo's part good on the Prince song?
It's okay. It's not like a standard Lizzo song.
Right. All right. Well, we have just a couple more albums and a couple vault releases, and we reached the end of the line, sadly.
Yeah, so next up is in 2015, he released Hit and Run Phase 1, which is not great.
Great album. Oh my God.
Wasn't this one produced by somebody else? Didn't he have an outside producer for this?
Yeah,
Joshua
Joshua
it was
Welton.
Hannah's husband, Joshua Welton.
I am not into it.
I kind of liked this one a little bit, but I don't know enough about it. Melissa, I feel like you're the cheerleader for this album. So what would someone look for with this album?
Well, I first heard Shut This Down at his concerts before this even came out. Like he would play it while you were waiting for the show to start. Shut This Down is good. Like a Mac is one with Curly Fries and Danny Lay, which I was talking about. That's kind of like got a rap in it too. They're rapping, but it's a good song. This Could Be Us is good. Fall in Love Tonight, that's the one on New Girl.
Mm-hmm.
Hard Rock Lover is a great rock song. 1,000 Hugs and Kisses is one of my favorites.
What's Mr. Nelson about?
It's a segue. It's not that exciting.
It's kind of like a spacey kind of, just Mr. Nelson. They're just, I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of like, I just have to listen to it.
1,000 Hugs and Kisses is a song from the 90s that he re-recorded. That's my favorite track off this record. But he changed the lyrics a little bit, and it kind of bothers me because it's like, just keep the original version.
Yeah. June. I like June.
June is a weird song, but it's like I actually kind of like that song too. But it's like it's a weird song. Prince definitely knew something was up. Like he was just in a weird.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give this one a little bit more than a sideways, more towards the up, because I kind of enjoyed some of the stuff on this one.
I'm gonna give it a thumbs down.
Parker, thumbs up.
What I'm enjoying at this point is Jeffrey's obvious discomfort in trying to be diplomatic, where it's like, this album is not good.
Melissa, I like it.
I'm not a fan of the later stuff. I'm sorry.
No, I love it.
Well, this is a good jumping point for someone just,
I do think
Jeffrey's trying so hard to be diplomatic, and it's just a struggle.
I do think that as a record, Hit and Run Phase 2 is a little more cohesive and kind of I actually truly at the time was like, I think Prince is finding his way back with this record. Because
whoever thought this would be the final Prince album,
Not me, but I definitely thought it was like he was on the road to like getting back to being.
I loved Baltimore and I loved Rock and Roll Love Affair. So I loved some of the stuff on this album. Did you guys like Baltimore?
I did. Actually, I got to go to Baltimore for that concert. When all that stuff was going on, he wrote the song and then he had that concert. It was amazing.
Mm-hmm. I liked
my son. It was on Mother's Day and my son went with me. So
Revelation, I think, is a fucking masterpiece.
Yes. I love Revelation.
What an anticlimactic end to such a legendary
anticlimactic end. Big City is like not like the track you end on.
I'm trying to find I can't find the picture, but when that album came out, I was listening to it right before I went to work, and Black Muse came on, and I'm like getting ready for work, and I'm trying to put my mascara on, and it's like a funky song, and I'm like dancing, and so I tweeted trying to apply a mascara while listening to Black Muse or listen to the bass or something on Black Muse, epic fail, and he retweeted me. That was the first time he retweeted me.
Wow, nice.
I was like, I saw it at work, and I ran around screaming, and everybody's like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "Prince retweeted."
So that begs the question: you think he was running his social media himself, or do you think somebody was?
Supposedly, when he
Twitter, yeah, I definitely
when he typed it on capital letters, it was him.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was all caps, or he would do the one uppercase, one lowercase kind of thing.
Okay.
So phase 2, I really liked Rock and Roll Love Affair, Baltimore, Stare, Groovy Potential, Revelation. That the sax solo for Marcus, it's amazing. Marcus Anderson, sorry. Not that Marcus. Although his saxophone is right here. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Where's Eddie M? Eddie M. Well, I give this one a thumbs up, I think. I don't think it was an iconic end to a career, but I think it was better than some other ones that we had.
I'd give it a sideways.
Which is good for Jeffrey.
Which is good for me at this phase. I mean, like I said, I did think he was finding his way back because it sounded more cohesive to me than what he'd been doing. But again, it's really not the way he should have gone out. He should have gone out with like something great, like David Bowie. David Bowie.
Oh my God! Talk about an exit
strategy of all time.
My goodness.
Just leaves with a fucking masterpiece and then dies 3 days later. Like, what a fucking way to go out.
What a genius.
Yeah.
Well, Bowie definitely knew, right?
Right, but I mean,
whether
like,
Prince knew or not. Yeah.
To drop, but I mean, the fact that he was just making such a vital record at that age of his life is, and I mean, because it's one of his best records ever. It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so then after that, the first posthumous release was Forever, which it was the greatest hits, and it only had Moonbeam Levels, which is the first time that was ever officially released.
Which was that Susan Rogers' favorite Prince song? His
yeah, it's a beautiful song. I mean,
what was that? His Engineer. It was supposed to be on a lot of albums. It always would go on the track list and never make it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
I went and saw Susan Rogers and Dwayne Tudor talk in LA like a month or two ago, and boy, I know Dwayne, but my first time seeing Susan, and she was just so nice and like just loved stories, and it's really great.
Yeah.
So do you think the Forever is an essential release for fans, or was it a cash grab?
Well, I think it's a cash grab, but I mean, it has more greatest hits than it has more greatest hits radio edits and stuff than Ultimate does, but then it's all album tracks that everybody has if you have their shit, if they have their
Right.
stuff.
Right.
But I mean, as a very introduction, it's good because it's got all of his hits, you know, and it even has Bat Dance.
Oh,
it has
yeah.
Mountains, you know. Randomly it's got Head and Gotta Stop Messing About, which is like weird, but okay. So then after that was, or we want to,
Yeah, let's keep going through to the.
so the next is the Purple Rain Deluxe Expanded Edition, which is great but sad that you can only have 10 or what is it, 11 unreleased songs when you know there's like hundreds out there.
Yeah, that was a little underwhelming.
Yeah, I mean, but I mean, when they announced that there was a studio version of Electric Intercourse, it was like, oh my god, because that's a song that a live version existed in bootlegs for decades, and suddenly now there's a freaking studio version, and no one's ever heard it.
And I remember
No matter
his
how elite you were in the Prince fan bootleg world.
his remaster of Purple Rain was actually done before he passed away, right? And then it was
Yeah,
released
and who knows if the vault tracks were picked out by him or not? They've never really said.
right.
I can't imagine him picking out "We Can Fuck" as a as a vault track to release.
Because they did announce that he was reissuing Purple Rain when he was still alive. So
Right.
he was starting to mend his bridges with Warner's, and it was so exciting. Because the last album, the Phase 2, was better. And then he was going back to Warner. So it really seemed like there could be a Prince renaissance. Then he fucking passed away.
I know. Ugh. The only one of the complaints I have with it is the fact that they wasted disc with radio edits and stuff, which now sets the tone for on every release they're gonna have to do that.
Right.
And it wastes the disc because
See, I do like having those on CD. I do.
Yeah, I mean that's a divisive question. Some people love it and some people don't. But I mean to have like Wonderful Ass in perfect quality and Electric Intercourse studio version and Roadhouse Garden in perfect quality, and then what the song that truly impressed me the most in that set was "We Can Fuck," because it was later released in 1990 as "We Can Funk."
Right.
And he wrote the song when he was like 24. I thought like he was like much older when it was written, and it was like,
I love that original.
He was working on Purple Rain at the time. I'm like, to me that was like mind blowing. I can't get over it.
And didn't Jill sing on that?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Florida. And he's in
Yeah, she was like all over like all these tracks. That was a really cool thing. And Love and Sex I'd never heard before. Amazing track. Okay, so after that,
Who's there, Melissa?
Hi.
Yo, what's up? How y'all doing?
This is
Hey, welcome.
Hey, what's up? I'm sorry to interrupt. I thought she was on mute. I just walked up.
It's all
Yo,
good.
what's up, man? I'm Chris Robb, man. I'm also Prince enthusiast.
Cool. Well, feel free to. We're reaching the end of a years-long project here. We're like in the last 10 minutes, so feel free to jump on. Okay, awesome. Everybody's welcome.
Nice to meet you.
Hey, pleasure to meet you guys. Let's talk about one of my favorite artists.
Well, welcome to the fold.
You're in the right place.
Yeah, don't listen to what we said about some of the later albums.
The next thing that came out was a anthology, a digital only anthology of like his 1995 to 2010 greatest hits.
All right. Yep.
Nothing unreleased. It's bizarre because some of these songs are like these are his like later hits, but it is what it is in my view. Next after that was the Piano and Microphone official release from the 1983 piano session.
There's that.
It was the first release of, I mean, they had Purple Rain outtakes, but this was like the first like other
New
stuff,
album,
like kind of new album that was released. It was one of the first bootlegs I've ever had. So over the years, the sound got upgraded, but when this first came out, the sound was like dog shit.
right?
And the first time I heard it, because it was in such bad quality, I never cared to like go back and listen to it. And so now it's nice to have it in nice quality, but I just like in my brain, I still hear the bootleg version. And so you can never unhear it.
Cool. I like that one. I give the piano microphone thumbs up. I thought it was a cool release to have.
Thumbs up.
The next thing, I love this one, Originals, which
Oh, yeah.
is Prince versions of 15 tracks he wrote for other people. And so it's got the
That's
Prince
well said.
version.
Original. Yes, I love that album.
Great album.
It was great to hear his versions of those songs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Some of
mean,
them.
and it has Sex Shooter, Jungle Love, Manic Monday, Makeup, which is fucking insane.
Makeup of all the songs.
Right.
I
What
love
Holly Rock.
Holly Rock though.
What's that?
The Holly Rock was on there, right?
Holly Rock.
Yep.
Yeah, that version.
Glamorous Life. I mean, Love That'll Be Done. Dear Michelangelo. Wouldn't You Love to Love Me? That was a revelation to me because I never knew that version was so old. The song was so old, and that version is so funky. Oh my god!
Didn't Taja Seville do the final version that came out? Or
Which
the-
I think, now knowing what we know now, her version is boring. When she could have had that fucking funky ass version.
Clothes Get Lonely too.
Yeah. Jiggle
Yeah.
Jiggle and
I mean,
Maybe
the only
Maybe You're a Trip. Isn't that on here? Jill Jones.
Maybe You're a Trip. I mean, this just keeps on going. I mean, there's 100 miles an hour.
This was a great release.
The only thing that sucks about it is that it wasn't longer.
Yeah.
yeah.
I have that a lot in my life.
Oh.
That's what she said.
Oh,
Originals. Thumbs up, though, right?
In every show.
Oh god, yes, 2 thumbs way up. The next thing is the Versace Experience,
Right.
which was given away at a Versace fashion show, and at the time had excerpts of tracks from the Gold Experience when that was never going to be released.
Universal
And then-
Versace?
The quality of this release is like not great, so the master recording must be not great.
Yeah.
But it has a remix of Pussy Control that unfortunately there's 2 little quick versions that are like unfortunately not anywhere else, and they're edits. So
Oh.
somewhere out there there's a longer version of 2 remixes of Pussy Control. After that is the 1999 Super Deluxe Edition, which
Great.
is beyond amazing.
Mhm.
It's got
See, after all that whack shit on Crystal Ball, I feel like the 1999 Deluxe showed like Prince had some shit in his vault. Like that did the vault justice.
This shows
Crystal
off.
Ball was
I
not
mean,
whack.
Crystal Ball was whack.
They did.
Crystal Ball is whack. What are you talking about?
Don't
No,
say they.
I didn't say it's whack. It's not the greatest representation of his vault tracks. This is a good representation of his vault tracks.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you've got a totally different take of How Come You Don't Call Me Anymore, Something in the Water Does Not Compute, International Lover. I mean, any version he could have recorded of these tracks would have been just as good. And then all the songs that were not released could have easily gone on the album and been an amazing record.
Yeah.
He had so many good songs at this period of time. It's like mind blowing.
I thought they did a really good job on that expanded version. The only thing that's driving me crazy is being a collector, how each reissue is a different size. So
Yeah.
they're not going to all be in a series, but that's being stupid.
So that's 2 thumbs way up for me.
Yeah, 2 thumbs up for that reissue.
I mean, those 1999 unreleased tracks are like
What are some of them? What are some of the? Just list them off. It's been a minute since I listened to it.
the original version of Fill You Up and Irresistible Bitch that was kind of a
Oh my God, so
track.
good.
So
Yeah.
funky. Money Don't Grow on Trees, Vagina, Rearrange, which none of those tracks had ever been heard before, even amongst the elite bootleg collectors. Bold Generation, which was a freaking 1982 version of New Power
New Power Generation. Yeah.
is like mind blowing. I mean, Turn It Up, You're All I Want, Something the Water Does Not Compute, original version. If It'll Make You Happy, and How Come You Don't Call Me Anymore, take 2. And then the next disc was the 1982 version of Possess, which is amazing. Delirious Full Length, which is amazing. Purple Music, which is amazing. Long track.
Purple Music.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I feel like Purple Music is that song for me. It's when they first started releasing these extended albums, whatever after he passed. that was that track I was looking for.
Oh,
You know, that track that was like that life changer. You know, track that was like another. I don't know what to even compare it to, like a lady cab driver or like
okay.
just something that just like you hear it and you just like, damn. And like this, how could to imagine that somebody could create that and not even like it just be like, no, I'm not gonna put it out.
Throw it away.
Yeah, it's just sitting there.
I mean, song after song, you're just like, how can he have written all these great songs? And I mean, and he never even referenced them again ever. I mean, Purple Music, he actually started playing live towards the end of his life. But like, I mean, I never knew Bull Generation even existed. And it was like,
And I remember driving around listening to those, and it's like you get over one disc, then you put in another, and it's like great disc after great. It's fucking great. Just how could he have all those outtakes are just as good as a class? 1999 is one of the best albums ever made, in my
I
opinion.
know. And there literally is like, could have been three 1999s that came out that year.
It's mind blowing.
It's like mind blowing.
Huh.
And then just two, Purple Music, Yeah, You Know, Moonbeam Levels, No Call You, Can't Stop This Feeling I Got, Do Yourself a Favor. I mean, song after song, just like amazing. Don't Let Them Fool Ya, Teacher, Teacher, and then like a live tour demo of Lady Cab Driver, I Want to Be Your Lover, Head, and Little Red Corvette, which is kind of weird.
And I like that early Teacher, Teacher better than Wendy and Lisa when they got all flutey and fluffy with it. And Do Yourself a Favor ended up on a Jesse Johnson album, didn't it?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
If have you guys ever been to the Prince Symposium in New York?
No.
I have.
Okay.
I went to the Love Sexy one.
Okay, cool. So if by chance they're doing one the end of March this year, it's March 31st, April 1st, right that weekend. They do it normally around NYU up there. I did one. I'm a performer. I performed for the symposium, the online one that they did. Was that 2020? 2020 in June, right? We did the Dirty Mind album. We did the whole album.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah, it was cool. It went really well. But we're gonna do a tribute. You spoke about 1999. We're gonna do a tribute to the Triple Threat tour.
oh shit!
We were recreating an album, and we kind of go on together. We really like pay attention to the details of the record, and we really bring it out and make it funky. So if you're by chance around New York for that, that's going to be a good time to be there for that.
Do you need someone to dress up like Brenda Bennett and drag? Because I'm offering my services right here.
Please and thank you.
I could do that squat they do in the tour. They're like dancing, then they go down and do the squat when they're. I watched that Vanity 6 Triple Threat tour. In fact, I shouldn't say this, but I actually wrote a song where I ripped off Vanity's opening to Nasty Girl, where she's like, "Vanity is nasty. I can't hear you."
I saw your tour. I saw that tour.
Yes,
when I lived there.
You did not.
I was there. I was in Brooklyn.
Oh yeah.
I went to that. I've known you for a long time.
Brooklyn?
I used to live in Manhattan. Like I live in LA now, but I moved like 3 years ago now, 4 years ago. But I lived there for 13 years. So I went to like every Prince thing for all those years, pretty much.
And
where did they do that show, the Triple Threat?
Oh, he saw one of my concerts where I was paying tribute to Vanity. You didn't see the Triple Threat tour, did you?
Oh no, I didn't see the tour. No.
Yeah. Because I was gonna say, you bastard. And that version of makeup they do on the Triple Threat tour is hot.
Yeah.
Don't get me started.
There's a bootleg of the Vanity 6 set in soundboard quality.
We're definitely doing a Vanity 6, and I'm gonna get Brenda Bennett to come on it.
Oh, I want to be on that.
Brenda, come do it. I'm gonna call her.
That Vanity 6 album is the shit.
Dude, and the Apollonia 6 album. I love both of those.
Yeah,
equally.
Apollonia 6, I don't care for the In a Spanish Villa so much, but like Ushi Chihuahua, I die for the Prince version of that song, man. Because that's like a prime Purple Rain era Prince track, man.
I got a shape like a bottle of Coca-Cola. Okay, Don't get me started on this fucking vanity.
Yeah,
bullshit.
yeah, don't get him started.
Don't get me started because I'm
Don't.
really
Yeah,
hungry and I want some wings and deep fried mushrooms. We still have like
we have 2 releases to go, so we can power through this.
3 more. We have 3 more.
The next is the Sign of the Times Super Deluxe Edition, which, if we didn't get enough amazing vault tracks from the 1999 era, we got hooked up with this one because, I mean, songs that we've wanted in good quality for years, and here they are, all of them. I mean, and then songs we didn't even know existed on top of the songs that we knew existed. So it was like an amazing surprise of 3 discs of unreleased fucking songs.
And I said this before, and you guys might all disagree with me. I love everything on the Sign of the Times Deluxe, but it was very clear that Prince went in the right direction by doing Sign of the Times instead of Dream Factory, in my opinion.
I don't know.
I feel like some of that Revolution stuff was getting a little floofy. Like I liked it, but I wouldn't fucking trade any of that for Housequake. Ever.
Right.
I would
Yeah.
never.
It's hard to say. Would he have written Housequake anyway?
No. Wendy and
Yeah,
Lisa were too busy.
He wants to know what you mean by floofy.
Can you define floofy, please?
They put a sitar on it and have a little flute and
Like, are you talking about All My Dreams? Where
all
like,
of the whole thing. All
like
that.
that song is like, I mean, I listened
And
to it on repeat for like 20 years, and then I finally gave it a rest, and then it came out on this thing, and I was like, on repeat again. It was
Okay,
like,
I will say my definition of floofy is if you listen to the Wendy and Lisa Teacher compared to the 1999 outtake.
but that track is not that great. I mean, on the tracks like Adonis and Bathsheba and A Place in Heaven.
That's good. I like Lisa's vocal on that one. Is that the
There's
one Lisa
so many-
sings on?
Yeah, their version of Strange Relationship with the Revolution is fucking genius.
See, I don't like it. I don't need that the sitar like droning. I like the Sign of the Times version better.
I like them both, but I mean, you know, it's like,
It's
Yeah.
apples and oranges.
it's just amazing that like he came up with 2 different versions of that song that are fucking great. Because
Yeah.
I mean, that's he was just a freaking genius. I mean, there's no other way to describe
He's a
Prince
genius.
other than he was just a freaking genius.
And they did that. They did the Sign of the Times right. They did right by that album. I think the reissue should have had the movie in it, but whatever.
I mean, it's bizarre that it doesn't have the long version of Crystal Ball, but which I think is like, but I'm sure it's because of space issues.
On the
Dorothy Parker with horns.
yes.
Yes, dude. Shit.
One of my favorites.
And the Forever in My Life with the more doo-woppy one or whatever. So good. Jesus, I can't handle it. Okay.
The song I'd never heard before that I just die over is When the Dawn of the Morning Comes. That song, like, if you're in a bad mood, put that shit on and you'll be in a good mood in like 3 seconds. In my opinion.
Okay. The state did that one right. I'm giving it major 2 thumbs up.
Yeah.
All right, we only got 2 things left.
I think there's just one.
No, there's 2.
Wait, hold on. I have Welcome to America. What's after that?
This.
Oh,
Oh,
okay. So Welcome to America. Next.
I liked this album.
Welcome to America. Yes.
I really liked it.
I wasn't into
I
America.
love it.
I wasn't into it.
This is the first album I can honestly say I liked 0 songs. I even liked songs on Third Eye Girl.
Oh.
This album, I liked 0 songs. I was
Oh.
like so sad that I did not like it.
So we're half and half. Clark, you're the tiebreaker. What did you think of Welcome to America?
I'm gonna keep the tie. I'm going
Oh,
chaos. I love
Stop the steal. I need a recount.
No.
Can we all go? Can we all meet in New York City for your performance in March? Let's all go. Let's all
Yeah.
go. I'll go up to New York.
it. Yeah, we're due a road trip.
Okay, so Welcome to America. I give it a thumbs up.
Oof. 2 thumbs way down.
And then the final thing to date that's been released, Prince and the Revolution live. This is gonna be controversial. I did not love this concert. I love the Sign of the Times concert. I thought this one was weird. it's it's all like dark and weird interludes. I didn't like it. Sorry.
It was a little weird.
Go
It
ahead.
was a little weird. I agree. I liked it, but it definitely went some places, some foreign places that I don't think I ever saw Prince go again. You know what I'm saying?
Thank goodness, right?
Yeah, when he did like that whole God segment, that's pretty dark.
It was dark, and it was dark. Like I feel like they had like one purple spotlight on the stage, so it was like dark lit wise and content wise, which is weird.
And that beautiful ones part where it was like the music was playing backwards from like that was like weird. And then when Doves Cry with the split screen, it was like,
yeah, like to recreate the video was bizarre. There's a lot of things in the video that are bad. Like they didn't know what they were doing. There's a lot of shots where the camera's shooting into a spotlight and you can't see anybody, and they're not focusing on who's playing and stuff. It's like the camera crew didn't really know what to expect when they were shooting that. And
the equipment was so lo-fi because it was like 84.
Yeah.
I personally think that the version that we had of it was good enough. I didn't think they needed to do a whole remastered sound and picture because it wasn't filmed on film. So it was like,
I think it's a good historical release though. I mean, it was the top of his charting career. And that wasn't the height of Prince to any of us, I'm sure. But to the general public, I guess that's when the stadiums were filled with the casual fans.
I would much prefer a Parade show in perfect quality, but that is for sure because that tour was insane.
I'd prefer the Parade album over Purple Rain, probably. I love Purple Rain. I love all the first 13 albums. Like, I guess I can't.
I love Sexy Show.
Oh my god!
That
the Love Sexy album, man.
Yeah,
I would love to hear the outtakes from that because the ones that are out there, I love like the Voice Inside. What a great freaking track.
The Parade show from Detroit's got to resurface at some point because there's extensive video from that, right? I mean, there has to be a full-length thing somewhere of that show.
I'm sure that all that shit's in the vault.
Yeah, the Detroit show specifically because there's a lot of performances have popped up already from that.
right.
Yeah.
Well, in January 2021, we started with For You. The Prince Phonogenics series has had a very rotating cast of characters, but Melissa, were you on every single one except for one?
Not the last one.
So you're on every one but one. Clark, were you on every single one?
I may have missed one or two, but I didn't miss many.
And then Jeffrey, you were pretty heavy
in the beginning, and then my life got crazy.
A shout out to Aisha who jumped on a lot. Is Marcus around? We gotta give Marcus a shout out. He was such a pleasure to have on. And
get out here. They were waiting for you the whole time.
I keep hearing my name. How you guys doing?
We are finishing the Prince series. This is the end of the Prince series. We did it. We got to the end. We will re-meet next year for Vanity and Apollonia 6 for sure. So, all right.
We're gonna meet in New York when you have to work.
You'll be working and we'll be working it.
Right.
All right, so you guys give them talking about Prince entire discography. I give it 2 thumbs up. All right. Does anyone have any parting thoughts?
Thanks, Jeremy.
Before we sign off, this has been a journey, but we fucking did it. Thank you all. Thanks to all the Prince. Thank you to Prince for making some of the best music in the world. And some
we
music
did this in a short amount of time. How many albums we had to do?
Yeah, I knew we'd get it done. So now all 4 of my original series are done. You guys want to know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go get some wings and deep fried mushrooms.
This hour?
Yes, at Firehouse on 56th Street. I love you all. Thanks to the Patreon. And we will see you in New York performing in March.
Be a good time.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye. Love y'all.